Okay. I didn't even hear myself. Oh, there we go.
Yikes,
there we go.
There you are.
Okay. I wanted to do the na-na-na-na, hey, goodbye song, but I got chickens. The chickens have come home to roost. The chickens have come home to roost in our studio here. I want to celebrate early, ladies and gentlemen. I'm completely, firmly convinced that Mitt Romney will win. President Obama will be a one-term president, as he should not have even been a president. But the way our system works, if you can't cut it, you are out of here. He's out of here. You'll see late tonight that will happen. We got a phenomenal show for you today. We have about 100 people participating. They're going to be calling in from all over the world, all over the state, all over. We're going to get a real on-the-ground feel for what's going on. What's Joe doing over there?
As soon as you said that, he ran out of the control booth.
Oh, no, the phone is going to
Yeah.
Okay, we only have one guy calling Joe, so
Yeah, just one per hour.
He's going to call 100 times, though. Joe gave me a number yesterday. The number was 5. Well, the number is 5, folks. 5. Remember, we started the show Friday with 100. It was 100 hours until the close of the polls in the state of Florida. But some wise guy called up and said, well, does that factor in daylight savings time going away and all that? No, we didn't factor that in. But it is 5. It's 5 hours right now from the opening of our show to the closing of the polls in the state of Florida, 8 o'clock tonight. And Florida will determine what's going to happen. And Florida's going for Mitt Romney. Nope, changed to 8 o'clock. They extended it 1 hour, so they're closing at 8 o'clock tonight in the state of Florida, and we will be celebrating. But you don't know. I know, okay, I know. If I'm wrong, well, we'll deal with that later. But I know.
That'll be an interesting show.
How do you know? How do you know? There's a couple of ways, but first of all, who are we? People are
Who are we and why are we here?
turning on their radios going, what the heck is this? Well, we used to be living in the low-rent district at 2 to 3. And we came uptown here to the 5th floor at Beasley Broadcasting Corporation, and we found a new home, 3 to 6 drive time. So you cannot resist going to the end of that dial, 1470, hitting it, and listening to some of our eloquacious, is that a word? Some of our unique and insightful analysis on national security issues. Well, I don't care about national security, I just need a job. Well, if people want to blow you up, your job's going to be secondary, and guess what? They want to blow you up. So we're here to keep you safe. And we'll tell you about the particulars of our national security niche and what that means to you personally. But today, we are going to go around the world, around the country, around the state, talk to people, figure out what's going on. My name is Tom Trento. The show is Trento Vision, 3 to 6 East Coast. 12 o'clock for you California surfer dudes out there in the useless state of only, what do you call those voters? Non-electoral college voters, just the general vote. We can discuss debating. We can debate whether or not to get rid of the Electoral College, all of that for another time. But you guys in California, welcome at noon to 3 o'clock. And over in the pond, our friends in Europe, a little later, about 6 hours. Maybe it shifted. Did it shift to 7? Is Europe 7 now, and Israel and all that with our change? I don't know. Oh, just check the iPhone. The answer to the world's problems is on the iPhone.
Oh, that's right. Your
Let me
favorite
check.
toy.
Let me check. I have this little thing, hit the world clock here. It's 10:07 in Jerusalem, 7 hours. So 10:07 in Jerusalem, 9:07 in Amsterdam, 9:07 in, so it's 6 hours in Europe, 7 hours in Israel. And my cousin says he's a disenfranchised voter. Good, that's good. You're a Democrat, so that's okay, okay? Particularly you left-leaning, semi-communist cousin of mine in New Jersey. But in any event, it's good to be here today. We have J. Mark Campbell. Say hello, Mark.
Hello, Mark.
Mark now has an on-off switch, so we won't have the rumbling hurricane noise all the time. And we have CJ here.
Hi.
Oh, you guys are really
I'm sorry, I'm working.
loquacious. And we have Mike.
I'm emailing, I'm texting, I'm bitextual today.
Okay, you're bitextual. And we have Mike chewing on his fingernails. Say hello.
Hello.
But the girls like Mike anyway. So, Tom Trento here, Trento Vision at 7 minutes past the hour, WNN 1470. We're going to be here for a while, folks.
Forever.
Forever.
It's never going to end.
Never ending. And seriously, regardless of who wins tomorrow, though it's going to be Mitt Romney, the world does not change. Our focus of work, Islamic Jihad and its affiliate Al-Qaeda groups and other terrorist organizations, but they're at the forefront. They will ramp it up if Mitt Romney wins, because he will be more direct and confrontational with his team than Obama was, and Obama is just so pro-Islamic, so pro-Arab. He functions de facto as a Muslim president. I mean, that's pretty clear in many ways. If you think differently, give us a call, 888-565-1470. What?
You ran across a scientific poll today that a Trento Vision only scientific poll today, and if you'd like to share that, I'll zoom in on the poll statistics on your iPhone.
Oh, that one. Oh! I thought you were talking about my first scientific poll.
No, the real scientific.
Well, the first one is interesting too. It's a little sticky. It's a sticky matter, sticky wicket. The first one is, many people have been saying it, but I've thought it down to a deeper level. It is the bumper sticker theory. Have you seen, in 2008, every friggin' car in the world had an Obama sticker on, had Obama stickers on top of Obama stickers. How many Obama stickers have you seen, Mark?
It's running about like a 19-to-1 ratio of Romney stickers.
Have you seen many Obama stickers?
No.
No. Here's
also add onto that the yard signs too.
No, and I've been looking.
Yeah. Now watch this on the bumper stickers. You buy a brand new car. A bumper sticker is the last thing in the world you want on your car, right? So if you own a new car and you put a bumper sticker on that says anything, you're pretty committed to whatever the message is on that deal. So picture the Democrats who have money, who are hypocrites, because they try to pay as little taxes as possible, but they're supporting the president raising taxes on people like them, right? So they're such hypocrites. They buy a new caddy, they pay 50 grand for it, they put a bumper sticker on this beautiful car. That's pretty committed. But then you got the other Democrats who have no money because the Obama policies don't work. And they drive pieces of junk, just like my car. They drive these beat-up things, and bumper stickers actually improve the value. They raise the value of the car. So you have even those guys who benefit from putting a bumper sticker on. They don't have it. So you got the guy with the rich car. He won't put it on it. Why? Why are they not putting bumper stickers on their cars? Let's take a second to think about that. Why do you think a guy who's making $1 million a year, he owns a nice business, he goes on vacation, he's a Democrat because he's always been a Democrat, Jewish Democrat in Florida, but he doesn't put a bumper sticker on his car? Why? Obama sticker. CJ?
Oh.
You who know it all?
Oh.
Mark, okay, you can jump in.
I think it's pretty simple. It's passion. It's if you're impassioned about it and you're saying, God, I want to support this guy, you're going to put a bumper sticker on there, and you're committed to vote and committed not only to just voting, but supporting him vehemently in your off time, in your work time, and in your finance and money. When you don't do that, you're not committed anymore.
Well, you live in this. That guy driving that caddy making $1 million, he's a 1%er. Well, could we agree, folks who are listening, that there are Democrats who are part of this, whatever this amorphous 1% is?
Absolutely. You know what? I was thinking about them this morning. It was very, I don't know why it popped into my head, but I was thinking about these guys like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, who support very liberal causes, and they're very vocal about tax policy and thinking that we should all pay more taxes, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm thinking, you know what? These guys do a lot of good works, but they set up foundations that do the good works for them, and those are tax-free. But also, they get a lot of grant requests and personal requests for help. They have people who work with them, who go through those and help them figure out what's a worthy project for me to put my money into. Okay? And that's how they do their giving. These guys, at any time, have the option of writing an extra check to the federal government and having it go into the kitty, but they don't do it. Why don't they do it? Because they don't trust the federal government to put the money in the right programs that they actually support, and yet they think the rest of us should do exactly that.
Well, I mean, we can cut through all of that. And for those of you just tuning in now as you're driving at 13 minutes after the hour, my name is Tom Trento. The show is Trento Vision, National Security Radio. That's our focus. Right now we are dealing with the removal of this president through the electoral process. And CJ just raised a fascinating point. Why don't all these rich Democrats who believe that taxes should be increased just write a check? Write more money. Well, it's not as much as if everybody has to pay a little. Let's just short circuit the whole theory. Let's say you got $100 and you live in a local city around here, Boynton Beach, Florida, and you want to help a family that's suffering from out of work, all of that, and you have $100 dedicated to doing that. And you have two choices. You knock on their door and you say, I have $100 to help you. Let's figure out the best way to do it. Very direct, very personal. Or you send $100 to Washington and you said, there's a family back in Boynton Beach. They need your help. Can you take this $100 and help them out? First of all, when do you think the help is going to arrive in Boynton Beach for that particular individual, and how much of that $100 is actually going to make it back there? And when it does, what is the level or quality of that help going to be? You don't send money to help people to Washington, D.C., other than some fundamental programs that have proven themselves and even need to be reconsidered on a regular basis. The closer the money stays from the giver to the need, the more efficient it is. And that's the Republican concept, that individuals help and then small organizations help. And the government is the final safety net, not the trapeze on which, or the, what's that big net you jump up and down on in your backyard? No kid should ever go on.
Oh, trampoline.
Trampoline, not the trampoline that you start with, but the final safety net.
How'd you know I have a trampoline in
Do
the
you have a
backyard?
trampoline? Those things are dangerous, man. I used to do dangerous stuff. No more. I just do National Security Radio. So,
Nice, safe, quiet work.
what we're going to do, what we're going to do today is get reports from around, literally around the state of Florida. Our first one, I think, is from Peter Feynman.
Yep.
Is he around?
Yes,
Oh, he is. Okay, why don't you introduce him and bring him up?
Well, we have Peter Feynman holding on the line, and Peter is the committee.
The Grand
Grand Poobah of Florida committeeman to the Republican National Committee. He's the state representative to the Republican National Committee.
Yeah, one of those.
And he's a big guy. He knows everybody. He's in Tampa right now at the Romney Victory Headquarters, soon to be, we hope.
Massive voter fraud.
Hey, how are you? Let's get your title straight, though. You're
Yeah,
the
please.
state. What is your title?
He's the national committee man.
I am the national committee man for the
I can't hear him.
Republican of Florida.
Yeah, well, in that position, do they give you a phone that works by any chance?
Yeah.
We could barely hear you, Peter.
Yeah,
Can you barely hear me?
Yes.
correct. Can you get to a landline?
Hold on, let me see what I can do here.
Or you can,
Hello?
yeah, okay, that's better. Good.
That's
Yeah,
better?
Okay, that's a little bit better. Sure.
That's a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah. First of all, tell us what you're doing up in Tampa, and then see if you can update us on the activities of today.
I Anyway, I'm going to get you a better spot in a minute. Let me call you back.
Okay, Peter's going to call
no
back.
problem. Hey, everybody driving your car, hang on a little bit, okay?
Yeah, pull off the side of the road and wait for this call. Here
Yeah. Give us a call back. We will continue. Peter Feynman, he's been on the show several times. He's an attorney, very successful attorney in Boynton Beach, Florida, if you need him for your business concerns. He also has represented our organization, the United West, on some of our clashes with the bad guys. And
he's our consigliere.
Yeah, consigliere. He's our consigliere. He's our mouthpiece. Hey, it's really Vito Feynman, not Peter, but Vito Feynman. Hey, Vito.
He's a national committee man for the state of Florida, representing Florida for the GOP here in Florida. So he is the Grand Poobah of Florida.
All right, and he
Okay, well, I came awfully close when I said that he represented Florida.
Yeah, that was good. That was pretty good.
Okay.
And he
and there's his picture.
What's he doing in Tampa? What is that all about?
Well, that's where the Romney state headquarters are. So
Tampa,
that's where the
Florida.
Grand Poobahs of Florida are meeting today.
They went right to the belly of the beast.
That's right.
Tampa.
That's right.
For our listening and viewing audience, Tampa is the belly of the jihad beast in the state of Florida. They have a university there where you actually went to school, CJ.
Yes, I did.
University of what, Mark?
Yeah, I went to Jihad U also.
You did?
I went to Jihad U.
You both?
Yeah.
What year did you go?
What was it? 90-something?
What year did you go?
I don't want to say.
Oh, well, she was before you.
It was a long, long time
You're
ago.
You're older than her, but she was before you.
Yeah, well, I went to about 15 different colleges.
Okay.
Yeah,
You were
because
an
he was
Army
in the
brat.
Navy.
I was in the Navy, then baseball and all
Army
that
brat
stuff.
and all
Yeah.
that stuff. But in any event, going back to Tampa, Florida, seriously, on our national security work, the Muslim Student Association at the University of South Florida, which is in Tampa, is highly connected and mobbed up with the Hamas, with the Muslim Brotherhood. There are people from there who are in jail now. We have Ahmed Badir, who's over in Tampa. It's just a
Sami
mess.
Al-Arian, who admitted terrorist, and also Ahmed Badir was his official spokesperson, saying, they got a big free Sami Al-Arian campaign because...
Okay. Can we talk about the election today?
Well, the connection is that this president, the reason why we work so hard is because his policies of appeasement and collaboration with the Brotherhood, Muslim Brotherhood, have really devastated this country. I mean, Barry Rubin wrote a phenomenal piece today. We met Barry out in Israel. He said there's so many reasons to vote against the president. He said, this is the day, America. This is the day. He said the foremost reason why Americans should vote against the president, guess what he said? The foremost reason.
One had to do with his connections to the Brotherhood.
What do you think?
Go ahead, Tom.
His collaboration with the Muslim Brotherhood. He said it is like in the 1930s or 40s that the president would be collaborating with the fascist Nazi regime. And he said it's unthinkable. Get rid of him, America, today. That was his
we know
message.
that's true because of our underground, activism is... you recorded one of the top...
With Peter back.
Is Peter back?
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Peter, you there?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not better.
No. Well, everybody be quiet for 1 second. Go ahead. String a sentence together. I know you can do it.
Hey, this is Peter Feynman calling in from Tampa.
Okay. It's manageable. All right, CJ, what are your questions? And you put him all together.
Okay, Peter, tell us why you're in Tampa and what you've been up to today.
Sure. I'm in Tampa because I'm the national committee man for the Republican Party in Florida. And Tampa is the Romney, Florida headquarters. And I'm a little hoarse because I've been on the phone all day dealing with voter fraud, literally not just in Florida, but all over the United States.
Oh, my God. What types of voter fraud have you been encountering, Peter?
First thing locally, we had some harassment at a polling place in Boca Raton by an Obama supporter. We've had malfunctions of voting machines, which I thought was just going to be, the scanners. I thought first that was just going to be the Republican precincts. Turns out there's malfunctions all over the place with our scanners in Palm Beach County.
And what type of issues with the
I
scanners?
don't know if that's on purpose or not, but Mark Hawk, who's the political director for the Republican Party locally, said that he's never seen anything like it in any election.
It's in all the Republican precincts, isn't it?
So we're dealing with that. We've got some voter fraud going on in Philadelphia. Got some voter fraud going on in Cleveland, Ohio. Got voter fraud going on in Wisconsin. And the worst of it all is in Nevada.
Nevada?
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let CJ interview him, and then we'll jump in. Go ahead.
In Nevada, Peter?
Going in now.
You're kind of going in and out there,
Oh.
Peter. In Nevada, Peter?
All right, he's
All
got it.
right, yeah, but Peter's having a hard time connecting with us today.
Yeah, he's having a hard time. So,
Now,
Yeah.
I have on my little
Now-
phone here.
Yeah.
What do
well,
you
that's
have?
pretty significant, Tom.
No, I
the
was gonna
GOP National Committee, man, for the state of Florida is now. This is not just some wingnut. This is the the top GOP Florida representatives claiming that there's massive voter fraud going on in the state of Florida and elsewhere in the country. In all the key swing states too. And so we need to get more detail on that.
Well, I've been getting phone calls from people all day telling me what they're seeing in different polling places around Broward County and Palm Beach County, and I reported them to Peter this morning. So Peter's been on the phone all day
Keeps dropping off. Okay.
saying, trying to investigate individual polling spots and make sure that somebody, the
All right, we
election
have Pete- yeah, we
attorneys
have Peter
get to
back.
the correct precincts to investigate. But I'm interested, of course, it's critically important here in Florida, but also I saw on the news this morning when Peter said in Pennsylvania, I saw in I think it was Philadelphia, where 4 years ago the new Black Panthers were intimidating voters at precincts in Philadelphia. They're back up there today. And why shouldn't they be? Because we have an Attorney General, Eric Holder, and a President, Barack Hussein Obama, who won't prosecute the new Black Panthers for intimidating voters.
So basically, he's getting a free pass. Peter, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Oh, that's a lot beter.
Can you hear him?
Yeah, you keep dropping in. You must be in
Yeah.
bad cell area or something.
Yeah. Peter, if you can get to a landline or a payphone and call in, that would be great.
A
Find a payphone. Don't hotels have payphones?
Let's give it a shot. Peter, try to continue, and we'll see. It's going to be he's in the middle of a million things. Let's try to continue. See if we can bear with you here.
Yeah, let me give you some good news.
Okay, let's hear some good news.
The good news is, without voter fraud, we are cautiously optimistic we're going to carry New Hampshire, Michigan, Wisconsin, Missouri, Iowa, Florida, Virginia, Colorado.
So the whole country.
All the swing states. You just listen to.
Did you say Ohio? Did you
No.
say no? Not Ohio. Okay. No, this is good news.
The states, you don't need Ohio.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
With all those, oh my
That's
goodness.
272 right there. The numbers he just listed off. That's 269 is the win. 272 is what he's talking about.
270 is the win.
No, I said 272 was what he just listed off. But
No, you said 269 is the win.
is a top 269 above. Sorry.
Yeah.
Correct. But
Yeah.
you get those other states, you don't even need to get Pennsylvania or Ohio.
Right.
Wow. Wow.
But New Hampshire's the key. If we catch New Hampshire, because without New Hampshire, it's a tie.
Well, but this is all we know this, okay? But what data, what quantifiable, tangible, empirical data exists upon which you made this this statement?
It's a study of early voting compared to 2008. And a study of, A, what percentage of Republicans are voting early versus 2008. What percentage of Democrats in those states are voting early versus 2008. And then you extrapolate those numbers out and come up with wins in all those states.
Interesting.
Okay.
So you're seeing a low voter turnout, early voter turnout for Democrats, and a higher early voter turnout for Republicans. Is that what you're saying, Peter?
Correct, compared to 2008.
So, are you figuring in for a fraud factor in your calculations? Saying, is there a calculus for estimating that 10% of the votes cast for Romney won't get counted or will get discarded or turned out to be on faulty scanners or anything like that?
That's why I didn't have Pennsylvania and Ohio on that list.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
Okay, all right.
That's
so
very
he's
interesting.
You're trading those.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, Ohio is, 16? How many votes in Pennsylvania, electoral votes?
Pennsylvania's 20.
26, so 36 there. Okay. Very interesting. Now, where are you? I mean, are you in a hotel, or are you in a room, or are you in a...
He's in a locked box.
I'm at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Tampa.
Okay, that's the base of operations, and a direct line to Romney in Boston, I would imagine, correct?
That's correct.
How are they feeling right now?
They unlike what the liberal media has been saying this past week, it's not a narrow road to victory. Because Romney has gained so much ground in so many other states, there's actually many paths to victory that don't necessarily include Ohio or Pennsylvania, so that's what got everybody excited.
All right, what Peter just said, it was a little difficult. He said there is, not with the mainstream media saying there's a narrow path to victory. There's actually many paths to victory, so the Romneys are feeling very good about things right now. I heard earlier today the speculation was that the Obama would take the lead in early voting until all the Republicans had to leave work, and then it would shift at that point.
Peter, seriously, can I ask you, please, for anybody listening all across the country, not just in Florida, can you let me know when we hear about voter fraud and irregularities, who should people call? Is there a national hotline set up for anybody listening to report voter fraud and irregularities in their precincts across the country?
Yes, there is a national hotline. Let me grab that number.
Great.
This is good.
Yeah.
All right. There's 3 national hotlines.
Okay.
Okay. There's first the hotline for the Republican National Committee General Counsel Office.
Okay.
That's in Washington. That's 202 863
863
5343.
5343.
Got it.
And then there's a hotline for issues arising concerning voting machines.
Voting machines, okay.
Voting issues or voting machines?
Issues arising.
Issues regarding voting machines.
Okay.
That number is 972
972
231
231
3719.
3719.
Got it.
Correct. And then in Florida, there's a hotline number.
Florida hotline voter fraud number.
Right. That's over here in Tampa. Area code 813.
813.
And hold on here. I'm dealing with a lot of papers and a lot of notes. So bear with me. Okay, here we go. 813 280
280
5641.
5641. And we'll put those numbers up on our on our live stream at trentovision.tv, and so you can call into them and have those numbers available to you.
Correct.
Thank you, Peter.
CJ?
Yeah. No, Peter, that sounds great. Are you going to be able to call us like a little in the 5 o'clock hour, maybe around 5:30 or so, and see if any more good news has come in?
Yes, by 5:30 I should have a better line.
Sounds good. Okay.
We'll catch all the Republicans coming off of work.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Peter.
Check back in at 17:30.
You got it.
Okay.
17:30. Aye,
That's
sir.
right.
Thank you, Peter. Bye-bye.
Okay. No, that's great. That's good information. That's exactly what we need.
And
Yeah, let's get the Florida number. Well, you can do all three numbers, put them up, might as well. That's good that there's a hotline number, basically. All right, here we are at the bottom of the hour, folks. Tom Trento, TrentoVision.tv, broadcasting out of Boca Raton, Florida, 50,000 watts, North Miami to Kissimmee. And if you're driving on the road, you're going to hear us from 3 to 6 every day. And we're broadcasting on WNN 1470, the Health and Wealth station, where we have neither, those of us in this room right now.
We could use a little of health and
we're going to rename it the Health, Wealth, and National Security Network.
Yeah, Health, Wealth, and National
Security for your health and your wealth.
We got a lot of that, but we're all beat up and bruised, and we have used our pennies to fight this battle, to alert America as to the philosophical, the operational failures of this president, and it couldn't be more illustrated than in the past month from September 11th to now, almost 2 months actually, of the failures illustrated in Libya, in Benghazi. The whole Libyan deal was a mess. We found out that Ambassador Chris Stevens was involved in helping al-Qaeda basically funnel weapons to the Free Syrian Army, and something went horribly wrong there. Our guys were killed. This administration did nothing when they could have intervened. So today is the day.
Yeah, they did something. They stopped anybody from helping them. They didn't just sit back and do nothing. They actively stopped anybody from going in there and helping.
Yes,
that is worse.
Stand down is an overt action.
Yes, it is.
And before that, and here's the untold story. Not only did they ask for additional security, they were refused that, and they were cut the security that they had. That was just the amazing
story. The whole thing. I mean, we've been through this for you, but the point of what I'm saying right now is today is the day when you can make everything straight. For those of you who have not decided to vote yet, all you have to do is look at the failures where there's 4 dead Americans on sovereign property, and cover up by this administration. You go, you know what? I can't vote for this guy. But if that isn't enough, all you had to do was listen to our first hour yesterday where Dr. Jeffrey Zipper laid out the devastation that's going to occur in 2 sectors in the American society. In the medical community, for elderly folks looking for medical care, you're going to be euthanized, okay? That's the direction that this government will go. We have death panels that will make decisions about whether or not you have enough utility, you have enough productivity to be deemed a citizen worthy of Obamacare. Did you get that straight? The 70 and above year old folks, have you understand what I'm saying? The Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, Obamacare program has death panels set up to determine whether or not your condition is worthy of you receiving graciously from the government Obamacare. Now, if Benghazi and the failure of national security isn't enough, maybe the fact that you're going to be euthanized get your attention. If that doesn't, maybe the fact that Israel has been thrown under the truck, bus, airplane, everything. Israel's just a non-issue for this administration. If that isn't enough, figure out how somebody who says they're going to cut in half the deficit in 4 years actually doubles it, how you want to give them another chance at managing your checkbook. Today, folks, is the day. Get out to the polls, stand in line, and vote against Obama, vote for Romney, vote for Adam Hasner, vote for Allen West, all the Republicans, and dump all these crazy judges. All right, they all have to go to, and on the amendments, I hope you did some homework on those. Number 6, they're all yeses except for one. I forget which one is a no.
And if that isn't enough, you have Admiral Ace Lyons,
3 o'clock yesterday, third hour yesterday, 5
who was saying that, can you name me all the presidents you serve with and all the presidents you work with? Which one is and how would you rate Obama compared to all them? He said he that Obama makes Carter look good.
Yeah, well, he said it.
Obama makes Carter look good.
That was
Cigar in his mouth.
awesome.
It was
That
great.
was so good.
We got a lot of compliments on that interview with him yesterday.
Well, I wish you would have told me this morning instead of just sending me 1,000 emails and phone numbers for people to call. How about some good news?
The good news is 600 and something days of working during today. This is a great day. We're very happy here at Trento Vision at 37 minutes after the hour. We just spoke with Peter Feynman, the National Committee Man for the state of Florida.
And we have another grand poobah of the Republican Party ready to come on as well.
Right now?
Yeah, he's on the line. Jamie Miller calling from Sarasota. Jamie, are you there? Tom, I'm sending you the... I'm going to send you his... you got his bio?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know his bio, but I have his article.
Yeah. How are you, Jamie?
I'm doing great.
How do things look in Sarasota today?
You know, I think, the reports I'm hearing, especially out of Southwest Florida and Tampa and Pinellas, St. Petersburg, I think, favor us really well. It seems like the Democrat precincts in both St. Petersburg and Tampa are having light turnout. The Republican precincts in Southwest Florida are showing a really big turnout. So, the interesting, I think there's 2 counties people can watch tonight. I think Pinellas is a place where Romney is overperforming.
Really?
Duval seems to be a place up in Jacksonville where Obama overperformed especially early in absentee ballot voting. In early and absentee ballot voting, we're basically tied in Pinellas County. Republican turnout in Pinellas in Republican areas is looking really good today. So I think, we have a real chance to have a big election, I think, here in Florida if people will continue to go vote.
And for our online listeners, where is Pinellas County and where is Duval County at geographically within the state of Florida?
Duval is Jacksonville, and Pinellas is St. Pete.
St. Petersburg, okay.
Like Clearwater Beach, St. Pete Beach, the home of the Tampa Bay Rays.
And were they typically last election Democrat or Republican swing states? Or
Pinellas is a Democrat county for the most part. It's performed Democrat, I think, every year except for 2004 in most recent elections. It's 2004. George W. Bush won Pinellas by 226 votes, but Obama won it by nearly 38,000.
And how's
2008?
And how's Orange County doing with Orlando and Palm Beach County?
I think Orange is really kind of the big. Orange County is one of the weirdest counties in the state of Florida in the fact that it was, back in the day, every county was Democrat in Florida. Orange was one of the first counties to become a Republican majority county, and it is the first county to be Democrat, Republican, and now Democrat again. For instance, George W. always performed fairly well there. He only lost Orange County by 5,000 votes in 2000. He almost won it in 2004, but Obama won Orange County by 86,000 votes. So Orange is one of those counties where Romney really needs to do well. That's the reason why Romney was in Seminole County this morning. That's the Orlando media market. Mm-hmm. To put that in perspective, that's a very Republican suburb of Orlando. And that's Altamont Springs, Apopka, some of those areas, Sanford, your listeners would be used to hearing. George W. in 2004 won that county by 31,000, but McCain only won it by 5,700.
Right.
So there's a 26,000 vote swing between 04 and 08, and so I think that's why you saw Romney come into into Seminole, obviously to build his margins there and to mitigate his losses in Orange County as well. Orange County, I think, is kind of going to go with the 2000 model, quite frankly, where it sounds like there's heavy Democrat turnout and heavy Republican turnout.
Well, with the Orlando Sentinel being a very liberal left paper and their endorsement actually going with Romney, do you think that had any impact or any, and also the local media market?
I think it may. I think that the demographics of Orange County have changed. I don't think we win Orange County. If we were to win counties like Pinellas, if Romney wins Pinellas County, if he wins Orange County, I think it's very indicative that Romney's running the table not only in Florida but just about everywhere else. I mean, there's a school of thought out there that there's two major groups of people who have been underpolled, and most of these polls that come into election day, as you know, have Obama and Romney basically tied in the swing states in Florida. But a lot of these polls, as you know, you've heard people talk about +6 Democrat.
Right.
That is not going. That's not going to be the case today.
So you think it's even?
Going to be probably +1, +3 Republican.
Really?
Nationally, we've never had Republicans outnumber Democrats vote. But I think you're going to have maybe not a +3, but I think we're going to be even like we were in 2010. And then I think the nonpartisan voters who left us in 2008 come back. I think a good number of those polling is showing that Romney's winning those big. And so when you look at these polls, for instance, in Colorado, that Obama's tied, but Romney's getting 55% of independents. That to me doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, that doesn't make sense when you start breaking down the numbers. Iowa and Wisconsin, I think, are going to be two major indicators. I think you're going to look at those two states and see both of them probably within 1 or 2 points. Whoever wins them, traditionally in competitive, they're the type of state that swings towards the winner, but they don't swing really hard. Of course, in 2008, both went big for Obama, but in 2000, 2004, both those, Wisconsin was decided by less than half a percentage point in 2000 and 2004, and I think we're looking at more of that type of model this time in Wisconsin, and certainly Iowa, and possibly, I think, even New Hampshire. You're looking at 3 states there that could be decided by less than 1 point.
And when you say the plus, just for our listeners who aren't familiar with the terminology that you're using, when you say plus, 6 for Obama, or on the voting and on the polling, can you explain what that actually means, to people?
What you have is we all play with the numbers. For the most part, pollsters don't, and I'm one of the few pollsters who I like in my poll to mimic voter registration. And then when I'm doing that internally for a client, not for public consumption, not for media, so whatever the registration is what I try to poll. And then what I do is I present my client with turnout scenarios and the basis for, I think Republicans are going to turn out stronger in this area or that area, and Democrats are going to show out here. And so here's how you can take this data and use it to determine where you really are in the race. What a lot of pollsters do is they ignore party registration completely, and that's partly because they're national pollsters, and a lot of states don't include, it's hard to get party registration from an election database because a lot of places don't, you can go in and vote either way. Like in Georgia, you claim your party the day you go vote in a primary.
So when you say +6, are you saying +6 out of 100 people, like 106 people versus 100?
If you're predicting a 33% Republican turnout, +6 would be a 39% Democrat turnout.
Okay.
I think we're probably looking at something much closer to tied, and possibly even for the first time in history. When I say it could be +1 Republican, or it's not going to be +3 nationally, but you certainly could see a +1 in these swing states of Republicans outnumbering the number of Democrats who go vote.
That's
amazing.
amazing.
If you look at the swing states. And I think that's the big thing, that if Romney comes up and he's winning big, the two groups of people who have been underpolled the most in this election cycle are Republicans,
yes,
and quite frankly, white voters. And the group, and it's, people would think that it's Obama, so they're overpolling African American voters, but the group that's being overpolled, in my opinion, is Hispanic voters. And so you look at a Nevada. We're not going to win New Mexico. Nobody expects us to win New Mexico. I think most people expect us to lose New Mexico by 8. I think they could be overpolling Hispanics in New Mexico to a degree that we only lose it by 3 or 4. And so if you look at New Mexico, you would only look at New Mexico to say, oh, if we're within 3 or 4, that's why we had this big Romney win the rest, through the rest of the country. And it's a very small portion of underestimating of white votes. There's since 1980, the percentage of overall electorate, if you were to trend it, of white voters drops 0.4 per 4 years, or 0.1 per year. There's a few outliers. 1992, there were fewer white voters. 2008, we were lower. So a lot of these polls are basing the number of white voters on these 2008 numbers, not the historic trend. So when you have people say, oh, it should be 72%. Well, there's a group of us who think it's probably more like 74.8%. And while that's only, you think, oh, it's only 2.8%, that's the difference between someone like me being right and saying, okay, I think we're going to win Colorado, I think we're going to win Ohio. I think that puts Pennsylvania in play, and maybe we win it, maybe we lose it, but I think it's more in a plus or minus 2 category, not a plus or minus, not losing it by 7 or 8, but that's the scenario that puts, Wisconsin up for us by 1, Iowa up for us by 1.
Okay.
And so these states start dropping based on the, just that's the turnout model where we win a vast majority of these states. Pennsylvania, we'll know if, a lot of people say it's fool's gold up there, or you're chasing the election dragon, so to speak. But but I do. The people I've talked to inside the campaign do believe that their internal numbers are correct, and that and the reason why they think it's correct, and the reason why they think Pennsylvania was winnable, is because no one with Romney had spent any money doing negative ads on them, not in the primary, not in the general election. Okay. And so in the last 10 days, and Pennsylvania is a 92% election day voting state. They do not have early voting, and they have a very limited access to absentee ballot voting. So I think they logically said, listen, we can put less than $10 million here and make a play for it. And we're still going to speak to 92% of the voters, not like Florida where 50% have already voted.
Right.
And so we have this big chance, if we're within 2 or 3 points, which is where they were, and they're spending less than $10 million between the campaign and the third-party groups, and Obama has not defined Romney there. And I think for the most part, Obama was out of money because he couldn't respond, nor did he meet him dollar for dollar. I think the numbers ended up being almost $7 to $9 million being spent pro Romney to $2 million, maybe $3 million for pro Obama, and those are both, I say pro, but in support of. They might be negative ads, but.
Well, just on the ground, Jamie, here driving around in South Florida, I have to tell you, we've seen evidence of it not just on the airwaves, but also in the amount of yard signs and bumper stickers and things like that, T-shirts and things like that that are normally campaign giveaways that we haven't seen a lot of. But I have to say, Jamie, you sound like the Michael Barone of Florida. So if you wouldn't mind, just for a minute or so, could you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, your political background, and what it is that you're doing these days with your political consulting? Because it's quite impressive.
I am a Republican political consultant. I'm a former executive director of the state Republican Party. I've worked in either a campaign manager, senior advisor, or general consultant for 5 statewide campaigns. Rick Scott, Catherine Harris for U.S. Senate, Bill McCollum for Attorney General, Paula Dockery for Governor, and Newt Gingrich for President.
Oh, my goodness.
So that's kind of my... so I do have extensive statewide experience here in Florida. I also have clients in North Carolina and Mississippi. I'm proud to have said that my client in Mississippi, Philip Gunn, is the first Republican Speaker of the House. We ran his speaker's race since Reconstruction. He was elected in 2011. And also Tom Tillis, who in North Carolina, who's just the second Republican Speaker in North Carolina since Reconstruction.
Okay. Well, Jamie, if you could stay on.
Yeah, let him stay on.
Stay on the line for 1 second because we have Peter Feynman breaking in with some important news from Tampa. Yeah.
Hey, Peter, you there?
Yes.
All right, what's up?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Democrats in Palm Beach County have filed a lawsuit to extend voting hours, claiming that because machines are malfunctioning, people are being denied the right to vote. We have evidence on the other side that these are trumped-up charges about voting machines. We found evidence that the Obama people had affidavits at 8 o'clock this morning already for people to sign saying that they had experienced problems at the voting booth. And so they filed a lawsuit, we think, on false pretenses to extend voting hours to try to get the turnout up because they know their turnout is lacking. And they're trying to get it up, and they're using the legal system to do it.
Oh, my gosh. How does that work? Who hears that case, and when does it get decided?
I'm waiting for more details. I'm waiting for a call in from another source with information concerning this. But apparently it's in the Palm Beach County Circuit Court, and they're trying to get an emergency hearing to extend the voting hours. Meanwhile, I also hear that Susan Bucher is taking it upon herself to hand out absentee ballots to people who say they waited in line too long.
Who is Susan?
She's the supervisor of elections in Palm Beach County. And, of course, that activity is violative of the law.
Oh, my gosh.
You can't do that.
All right, Peter, hang on 1 second. Jamie, you still there?
I am.
Yeah, this is Tom Trento. Peter, I don't know if you know Jamie Miller, but he's a Republican pollster. Have you heard of him, Peter Feynman?
Yes.
Okay. Well, he's on a line with us, and he's going through.
Hey, Peter.
Hello.
Okay, we got both of you guys here now, and Jamie was just detailing the analytical material. You broke in. Jamie, what are your quick thoughts on what Peter just said?
Well, here's the thing. People have had Florida has the most open ballot access in America. We have more days of early voting than nearly any other state in the union. We have the most relaxed absentee ballot rules in the state. We've gone through, so we've gotten rid of punch cards. We have the most up-to-date laws for voting in the entire country. So, the fact that there are, machines are machines, and they'll mess up at times. No, there's no coordinated effort, I don't think, to stop people from voting. Everybody's had their opportunity to vote. If they're in line at 7 p.m. tonight, they'll be allowed to vote. If you're in line after 7, you won't. If you come to a polling place after 7, you should not be allowed to vote. And I don't even understand what kind of grounds they could even file a lawsuit like this because there's so many opportunities for people to vote. So if somebody waited till Election Day, and we know that this is the game that they play. They played it certainly since 2000, where it's, we want to keep the polls open in the 3 big counties where they can build margin, Broward, Miami, and Palm Beach. They don't want the polls staying open across the entire state. They don't even want the polls staying open longer in Little Columbia County or in North Florida County because they know that's going to benefit Republicans. So this is purely partisan politics at its worst.
I happen to know this particular case that you two gentlemen are discussing. What happened was a Democrat poll watcher in one of the precincts in Palm Beach County actually left the inside of the polling place and was following people in the parking lot and asking them after they had already voted to sign affidavits saying that their vote didn't go through, and they were pre-filled out forms from the Obama campaign.
Correct.
Yeah, that's not surprising. They pulled this trick in Palm Beach County, and it's and I don't know, Broward County obviously is a county that's worse for Republicans, but for whatever reason, Palm Beach County has a better Democrat machine, or there's more Democrat attorneys there that they're able to not only pull these types of shenanigans but get away with it. And it's abhorrible, and it's what's exactly wrong with our system. I think it shows them and the rest of the country that Obama's on the ropes here if they're going to resort to these type of tactics.
Yep.
and it's just it is partisan politics. They're not winning at the polling place, so they're going to try to win in the legal room, in the courtroom.
And Tom and CJ, here's how people can help. If you voted this morning or today and you had no trouble with the machine, if you had no trouble, if you didn't wait in line more than an hour, then call that 813 number.
We'll do that, Peter. We got a break. We got a hard break right now. Gentlemen, thank you. Peter, call us back in the next hour with anything. Jamie, thank you very, very much.
Thank you both.
We pushed this as far as we could.
Yeah, we
breaking
got an
news.
extra couple of minutes. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, we got Jill Lewis fighting with a poll worker. She found unguarded pictures. She took pictures of unguarded ballots.
Thanks for tuning in to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Tom Trento can be reached at 561-319-5533 or tom@trentovision.tv. And tune in again weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m.
No, I just checked the email that
WNN.
Yeah, it's not in that. It's
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
And ask her, tell her what you need her to do. This is a wonderful time for you to be sitting back here when we have all this stuff tonight.
Running back and forth to the control booth like 5 times, if you haven't noticed, CJ.
This is Steve Kane, and for some time now I've become concerned that my memory is not what it used to be. Now I know that a degree of memory loss is a natural part of the aging process, but as my lapses became more frequent, I began to worry. Maybe this was something more serious, like Alzheimer's. As my anxiety began to increase, I did a little research and found Lifespan Health Services in Boca, where they offer complete memory testing, which is covered by Medicare. That would answer the questions that had been causing me so much stress. I went through the testing. The results showed I was not developing Alzheimer's. My diagnosis, sleep apnea, easily treatable, and what a relief. Call Lifespan Health Services today at 561 area code 969-0102. That's 561-969-0102. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
It doesn't work that way for some reason.
This is Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WWNN Pompano Beach, and WKIS HD3, Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
From America's Radio News, I'm Bill Caiaccio. The candidates are killing time until the results of the presidential election start coming in tonight. Mitt Romney spoke to volunteers and told them he'll get the country back on track.
We're about to change America to help people in ways they didn't imagine they could be, helped with good jobs and better take-home pay.
AP White House correspondent Mark Smith reports President Obama took time out for some Election Day hoops.
The president motorcaded to a Chicago sports club for his now traditional game of basketball with his staff as the voters cast ballots. It's a tradition that dates to his 2008 White House run, when the only day he didn't do it, he lost to Hillary Rodham Clinton in New Hampshire. No word on how this game turned out.
Many consider Ohio the most important state in this election, and voters there are enjoying the spotlight.
This center of the universe label that gets affixed to Ohio in presidential elections, it's something Buckeye Staters wear lightly and with a little bit of amusement. Take Charles Cudjoe voting in South Columbus.
And shoot, I mean, look at every last presidential election since, Ohio's been a state. Like, every first thing they ask, what's Ohio's vote?
Turnout's apparently brisk, though not overwhelming. No problems are reported, though armies of lawyers are said to be ready to pounce if there are. And after something like a fifth of all TV ad money in the country was spent here, more than one voter told us, I'll be happy to get my television.
There you go. Can you hear us now, Betsy?
Columbus, Ohio.
People in 4 states are voting on the issue of same-sex marriage today. It's being considered in Maine, Minnesota, Maryland, and Washington. One person is dead in a workplace shooting at a food service company in Fresno, California. The shooter wounded 3 others before shooting himself. The shooter is reported to be in critical condition.
Can you hear us?
Police say the suspect is a parolee with a long criminal history. Your first stop for breaking news. This is America's Radio News.
Are you ready? Let's face it, today the new normal is uncertainty. Fears of job loss, injury or illness, natural or man-made disasters, interruption of our food supply, if not the rising cost of preparing future meals, are front and center in all of our thoughts. Thankfully, peace of mind begins with a plan, and the good people at Wise Food Storage want to be a part of your plan. The Wise Company takes a unique and innovative approach to food production for your long-term emergency preparedness. From breakfast through dinner, their ready-made entrees, meats, vegetables, and fruits may be freeze-dried or dehydrated, and thanks to their unique smart packaging process, along with a shelf life of up to 25 years, they'll be there when you need them. Why face your next emergency on an empty stomach? Visit wisefoodstorage.com and put the fear of hunger behind you. That's wisefoodstorage.com.
Power is still out to around 1 million customers in the Northeast after Superstorm Sandy, and another storm that should arrive late tomorrow could cause more problems. Forecaster Brian Cordy says this storm will affect parts of the East Coast.
Well, it's not a severe storm as Sandy. You still face the threat of coastal flooding and high winds. And I'm sure with a lot of the areas...
Hey, Betsy, can you hear? Yeah, can you hear me?
Those areas are susceptible, even more susceptible to a storm like this.
Yeah, hold on.
There's a mad scramble in New York and New Jersey to find places to live for people left homeless by Sandy. Officials say they've already put about 34,000 people in hotels, but they still need to come up with a long-term plan.
Just tilt it down.
The superstorm is blamed for knocking off nearly $4 billion in retail sales last week across the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast.
You look wonderful.
MasterCard Advisors Spending Pulse says that region normally accounts for almost one-quarter of the nation's retail sales. A car bombing near a military base north of Baghdad killed over 30 people and wounded more than 40 today. It happened as Iraqi troops were leaving the base about 12 miles north of Baghdad.
We're going to do that
Several
tonight.
soldiers are among the dead.
We're going to do.
Britain's leader is suggesting that Syria's president could be allowed safe passage out of the country if it guarantees an end to their civil war.
Prime Minister David Cameron has previously called the failure of world powers to halt the Assad regime's assault on opponents a terrible stain on the reputation of the deadlocked United Nations, where Syria's allies, Russia and China, have repeatedly blocked attempts to approve harsher sanctions in the Security Council. Now Britain's leader, although not exactly offering Bashar Assad an exit plan to Britain, says if he wants to leave Syria, he could leave, and that could be arranged. However, Cameron adds that he'd favour Assad facing the full force of international law and justice for what he's done in Syria. I'm Charles Tudor.
Wall Street is having a pretty good election day. The Dow's been up triple figures most of the afternoon. The NASDAQ and S&P are also higher. Journalism without agenda, this is America's Radio News.
And look what's happening to it.
Yep. Well, we got some interesting things that are going on there. Can you pull your screen down just a little bit more?
All his hair fell out.
Perfect. Thank you.
Our hairballs have hairballs. Bad breath and bad gas.
Chew himself raw, sticky, gooey.
Where are you going now?
Scratched incessantly.
At least $5,000 in vet bill. I heard about Dynamite on this radio
You're
station.
fine. It's a Skype call. Nobody cares what you look like on Skype. Huh? We got video.
The omega-3 fatty acids, zinc, probiotics.
Oh,
There's flaxseed
you look
oil,
marvelous,
the
trust me.
digestive enzymes that are cooked
You're
out
gorgeous.
of regular
You're gorgeous.
dog food.
6 days later, my dog's ear problems were cured.
Yeah, we got a good connection.
His breath was better, his gas was better, tons of energy, no more bad smell.
We're going to
She
have to do
has
it.
guts.
I'll get us
Puppy
going.
look, her coat.
Okay, you're going to just listen in, and Tom will call you in on the shot. Okay.
DINOVITE.com.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
What time, Tom?
With even more
What time you bringing Betsy on?
Are you suffering with chronic pain?
2 minutes.
For No
2 minutes.
Bones About It with Dr. Alvin Stein.
Okay,
You'll learn
I'll wait
non-invasive
for you guys.
techniques that can help you get rid of your
Okay.
pain without the use of harmful
Thank
drugs
you.
or
You're
surgery.
welcome.
That's
Thank
No
you.
Bones About It with Dr. Alvin Stein. Tuesday mornings at 11, right here on AM 1470 WNN, South Florida's Health and Wealth Network.
When it comes to your health, nobody does it better. South Florida's Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470.
Hello?
Yeah, just stay online. Don't hang up.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. So
Yeah, put your video on.
expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the
Okay.
host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Hi, Joe.
Welcome to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trento Vision is hosted by Tom Trento. Tom can be reached at 561-319-5533 or Tom at TrentoVision.tv.
I can hear you.
Listen and watch every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and TrentoVision.tv.
You can't type while you're talking.
Let's get a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
Whoa, what an hour. How was that hour? I mean, come on. That was pretty wild.
This is Toad's Wild Ride.
Yeah. Our desire, folks, Tom Trento, Trento Vision, WNN 1470 at 7 minutes past 4 o'clock. Only 37 hours until the polls close in Florida. If you were with us the last hour, breaking news. Joe's leaving. Don't leave us. But Ken's here. He can handle the ship. Captain Ken. If you were with us at the last hour, the end of the last hour, we had Peter Feynman break in after we had gotten an interesting analysis from him. He broke into CJ's interview with Jamie Miller, extraordinaire pollster, Republican pollster. The guy is like a machine.
He is so sharp.
Peter broke in and said, a lawsuit, folks. A lawsuit has been filed in Palm Beach County.
How surprising. By the Democrats. The Democrats are filing lawsuits. Why? Because they don't have the turnout.
They don't have the votes.
They don't have the votes. They don't have the turnout at the polls that they'd like to see at this late hour. So they are filing lawsuits to extend the closing hour in Palm Beach County to vote. Now, I'd like to. We'll open this up for some calls today. 888-565-1470. We have a full list of people coming on. We're bringing a woman in from Israel via Skype, so those of you on TrentoVision.tv, you can watch. A good friend of ours is an American citizen, dual citizenship, Israeli with American citizenship. And we're going to listen to her story and what happened over in Israel and her views of what's happening here. But we're on WNN 1470, iHeartRadio. If you don't have a computer or a good signal somewhere, download iHeartRadio, go to WNN in South Florida, you'll get the signal. And at the end of the last hour, Peter Feynman told us that the Democrats have filed a lawsuit in Palm Beach County because they believe that there's been some manipulation with machines, and as a result, it slowed everything down, and as a result, they need the doors open longer. What does that mean in the real world? Well, we asked Jamie Miller and others, and who's kidding whom? What that simply means is they don't have the voter turnout that they're hoping for. So now they go into panic overdrive, and they start busting people in. They pull them out of their homes. They go, "Are you breathing? Get over here. You're going to vote. We don't care. We ain't losing this thing." That's where we're at in Palm Beach County with the Democrats right now, ladies and folks. Folks, what do you point? Numbers.
Well, yeah. Real quick, if I could, Tom, since we're talking about lawsuits and voter fraud, I just want to update for the new listeners that we have in this hour. If you are voting today, and I hope you are, and if you spot any voter fraud in Florida, the phone number to call is 813-280-5641. If you see any voter fraud irregularities in your precinct when you're voting today, please call that number. If you have any problems voting yourself with the voting machines, that the scanners aren't working and it chucks out your vote, then the number to call is 972-231-3719. Please do not let your vote fail to get counted properly. Please use these numbers.
And if you're anywhere where there's Black Panther voter intimidation, give us a call. 888.
I want to hear that.
888-565-1470.
I was just in a store, actually picking up some printing at a local Office Depot. Good place to shop if you ever need to shop there. It's a good place. And the guy standing next to me was all upset, and the gentleman at the counter said, "What's going on?" He goes, "I just got to call my friends down in Miami. Black Panthers are intimidating people there, but he's an Army Ranger. He's getting some of his buddies. They're going over there, and
the guy said, we don't want any trouble, but the Black Panthers are intimidating people in Miami. And they do that in the black neighborhoods many times to make sure everybody votes the way they want to, which is Obama. And they vote for Obama because the Black Panthers are connected with Louis Farrakhan, and Louis Farrakhan is connected with President Obama. And in fact,
and loves the Muslim Brothers.
In 1995, President Obama helped Louis Farrakhan organize the Million Man March. How about that? You know that, did you there, America? Yeah, you know. That's why you have to defeat the guy. So Batsy, are you with us?
Yes, I sure am.
Okay, we will bring on, are we bringing her on the video part two? All right, folks, we have a good friend of the United West and a good friend of many people in South Florida. The United West was in Israel in February, and our honored guest, whom you are looking at right there. Oh, there you are, Batsy.
Look how pretty she is.
You look great, let me tell you. We won't use last names, but this is just Batsy, B-A-T-Z-I.
We already put her name up.
Okay, we got it there. That's actually, that's not even her name.
But that's not actually her real name.
That's okay. That's okay. And Batsy hosted an event for the United West in Israel for us, and she obviously comes here because she's also an American citizen, and we've met her here many times. But Batsy, you what do we got? Breaking news?
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. I do have to interrupt before you continue. We just had a caller ask if I could say again the Florida voter fraud number because he's in his car. And for the caller, that number again is area code 813-280-5641. And thank you for calling. And please tell all your friends to phone us or phone the voter fraud hotline if you have any problems.
What was that number once again, CJ?
That number again is area code 813-280-5641. If you spot any voter fraud, any irregularities, any intimidation that you see in your precincts today, please call that number. Thank you.
Okay, let's get back to Batsy. Welcome to Trento Vision, and when you're in town, you can come right in our studio here and join with us. But why don't you introduce yourself and tell us the experience you had, and just share your thoughts about what's going on in America and what you would like to see the folks in South Florida. There's about 500,000 Jewish people in the sound of our voice, about 5 million people the signal covers. They're not all listening right now, but many are, Batsy, so share your thoughts, please.
Okay, well, good day to everybody. It's evening, it's nighttime here in Israel. And as you mentioned, I am also an American citizen. I'm a native Israeli, but I lived in America for 17 years. And I very much regard it as my second home, my second wonderful home. I am very grateful to America. I remember America. I moved there in 1976. I remember the opportunities that that country awarded me. They accepted me for who I am, what I am, didn't look or just recognized a certain potential that I held and allowed me to develop it. And that's the kind of America I would like to see for everybody who is still there. Unfortunately, I don't think that's the case anymore. I am not a voter in California, Florida. I am registered to vote in Texas. And I'd like, you talked about voting fraud. I don't know whether we can classify it as a fraud, but I voted via fax. I had to cast my vote. I've been voting every time, ever since I left America. I continue to vote. And I voted, I got my forms. I had to re-register. I didn't realize that such a thing as the registration does expire, so I had to re-register. I did everything according to the protocol. And then a few days later, I sent it by fax, and then a few days later I called in just to ensure that my papers got in and that my vote will be counted. And of course, everybody could see who I voted for. And I don't think it's a secret. I don't keep it as a secret. Everybody knows who I vote for. I voted for Romney, and I'll tell you in a few minutes my reasons. But I want to share with you what happened. One lady told me that my vote was not going to be counted, and when I asked why, she said she'll have to get my file up, and she will let me know. The following morning I got up, and the reason they gave me was that in the section where it says address where you live now, it states if this is different from the above, your voting materials will be sent here unless you specify a forwarding address in box 9. So I wrote in that box, when I voted, I wrote voting by fax. There was no need for me to put in an address, because what was the point of putting an address if I wasn't going to receive any forms from them? That's exactly, I just followed the orders. They wanted an address so they can forward the materials. There was no point in putting an address if I was going to vote by fax. Am I wrong, guys?
No, it doesn't seem, that seems logical, no.
Well, I said, I'm sorry, and I gave her the reason. And one lady said, no, we cannot accept it. I said, listen, I have every reason to believe that somebody might have seen who I vote for, and they may not like it. And that's the only reason I will consider for not counting my vote, because I believe the reason I gave you for not stating my address is very valid, and I doubt anybody will find it illogical. And she said, what you're telling me now is, excuse my language, but I'm quoting her verbatim. She said, it's a bunch of crap, and hung up on me. Well, you know me by now, Tom, don't you?
Yes.
I think the rest of us do, too.
You know, I don't give up that easily, and I'm not letting anybody just bully me like that. So I called again, and I spoke to the supervisor, and I said, she was very nice, and I said, I certainly don't appreciate the manner in which the lady, that I support my tax money, and I do pay taxes in America, my tax money support talks to me like that. She's there to serve me, and I didn't do anything wrong to cause her to talk to me like that. And the lady, the supervisor, argued with me, and I said, listen, there's no point in arguing, because if you're telling me now that my vote is not going to be counted, I am, after this telephone conversation, I'm calling El Al, and I'm going to fly to New York, and I'm going to go to Washington.
There we go. That's what we like to see.
Okay, well, actually, we would like to see you come over.
Out of this thing, because I don't think there's anybody who will argue with me that the reason I gave you for not giving you my address is not a valid one. Right. And she said, okay, let me talk to my supervisor. I said, I'll let you speak to your supervisor, but I expect to hear that you accept my vote, and I'll still be happy to give you my address, but not for the reason that you stated on the form. And you might have to change the language of that particular section, because it is rather misleading. And if you're not going to count people's votes for that reason, that would be considered...
Hey, Betsy?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I got a question for you. As far as the voters are concerned over here in Florida, can you give us some insight into the Israeli mindset and their feelings, as far as Obama versus Romney is concerned? Because we're hearing a lot of conflicting reports of between the Jewish crowd, who they say, oh yeah, Obama's great for Israel. And what is the feeling on the ground in Israel concerning the election, and how would that help sway their votes here in the States?
You'll be surprised. There are many people that I speak to, and I speak to many, that want Obama, and they have the reasons, and that's fine. I don't think whether he's good for the Jews or whether he's good for Israel should very much enter the equation. We have to think about America first. But my concern is America and Israel right now have the same enemy. The enemies of Israel are the enemies of America. America needs to support Israel because, like the famous poem by Neumüller said, first they came for the Jews, and I didn't say anything because I wasn't a Jew. If America wants anyone to come to help it, to be there, when they come for America, they need to support Israel, because Israel has been on the forefront of every terrorist, of every attack that ever befell the world. And we learned to live with it. We learned to cope with it. Tom, you were here. You saw what Israel does. Israel could teach America and other members of the free world how to cope with that common enemy. And if that's the only reason Israelis should think who supports Israel, I believe we should vote for whoever supports Israel, but not because he's good for the Jews or he's not good for the Jews. Right now we have to think of much bigger issues that face the world, and that's really the enemies of the free world. And that's why we need someone who supports Israel in its current struggle, because that same struggle is going to face America in a few years.
Well, that's well said, Batsy. We appreciate that. And when are you coming back to the United States?
Probably next summer.
Oh, next summer. Well, I think we'll see you in Israel before you get here, because we're going to try to take another trip. And if we do that, we'll let you know. CJ, you have any questions before we let Batsy go? And then I want to make a couple of points.
Sure. I saw an article yesterday or a couple of days ago that said that 85% of American Israelis voted for Romney in early absentee voting.
Do you have a comment on that?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a comment on that, Batsy?
Yeah, well, I think most people, Israeli Americans or American Israelis, whichever way you look at it, basically share the same view that I've just shared with you. Israel feels that it's fighting a war for, not just for Israel, but for the rest of the world. And America and Israel have always had a wonderful relationship, and we need it now more than ever. And for the sake of America, you know, it's funny, I used to see those T-shirts that said, America, don't worry, Israel is behind you. Have you ever seen those?
Sure, yes, absolutely.
Okay, I really feel it's now more true and more factual than ever before. And that's the main reason Israel and America need to join hands. And we need somebody in the White House who will work together with Israel, not for Israel so much, is for the sake of America and the rest of the free world.
It's amazing that we have to have you 7,000 miles away giving a lesson on how voters should understand the global issues in Boca Raton, which is a critical Jewish and Christian demographic. Thank you very, very much, Batsy. We appreciate it.
Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you again here, Tom, and, you know, we can have another reception here.
All right, that'll be great. We really appreciate it.
That sounds good.
We'll be in touch, and chill your champagne for victory tomorrow, okay?
Yeah, I guess you'll wake up.
Thank you very much, and all the best to you guys, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Batsy.
Bye-bye.
What a nice lady.
She's a wonderful lady. She's a very intelligent woman, and as she is instructing people on the tenacity of the importance of each vote, you know, why she went after the person saying, oh, it's not gonna count. I mean, those are lessons that need to be learned by people. Voting is critically important.
Right.
And then she gives a civics lesson on, you know, why, interesting paradigm shift, why voters should support Romney as the president for the sake of the United States, not for Israel first.
Yeah. She called me. I thought she'd say something else completely different. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Interesting angle she had, and we're always saying, you know, Israel's our the
star,
ship out there. But guess what just happened in Wall Street? Wall Street's excited about a potential Romney win, and Wall Street has just closed higher. And because of a potential Romney win, Wall Street's very excited right now. So for those of you who have not voted yet, you look at the street, you know, and the street is excited that a businessman is going to come into America and get rid of this nonsensical socialistic concept that has failed for 300 years, failed for 100 years in America, failed for 500 years in the West, and have somebody come in to return basic, simple business principles to American economic policies. The street is excited as could be right now.
Well, not to throw a wet blanket on your party there, Tom, but I will.
Yes, please don't.
Just let you know that it actually is really close. The Vegas odds have it 5-1 Obama and 7-2 for Romney. So they're
those are
okay. Explain that for non-gamblers.
Mike, that cover is falling over.
For non-gamblers, what does that mean?
The money's on Obama to win.
I told you.
The money is on Obama to win.
Yeah. So.
Well, let's check that. I want to see that. I think those odds are changing dramatically.
Oh, changing by the minute. Yeah. Well, you got to understand, people who do betting are not necessarily just Americans. A lot of them come from overseas, do a lot of betting and everything, and there's a very strong, you know, love Obama contingent overseas betting too. And a lot of these bets do come from UK and places like that.
Oh, well, and do you, okay, well, let me ask you this. Do you think they're betting on Obama to win so that it looks like Vegas thinks Obama's going to win and they're trying to psych people out?
When guys put down money, they're betting him to win.
Okay.
So, but, you know, there's a feeling out there that he's going to win. What had nothing based on facts. When people put down money, they get real serious on it. So
somebody said, "I'm Batty over Batsy." She makes sense.
Ooh.
So
yeah,
she
does.
Get out there and vote. If you haven't voted, get out there and vote. It's not too late.
Oh,
and
look at
you
that.
know what? I got to tell everybody also those 85% Romney voters who are Americans voting abroad in Israel. A lot of those people are former Democrats.
We have right now.
They have flipped.
Mike just put up a graphic for the TrentoVision Ustream or TrentoVision.tv viewers. We have a beautiful graphic of 6 people, profiles, starting at the left with Marx, Engels. Oops, what happened? Sorry, it's coming back. It disappeared.
Oh, look at that.
Bring it back.
Anyway, I'd like to delve into.
Wait, let me get this thing out. Marx, Engels, Joseph Stalin, Mao, and who's the third guy? Lenin. No. Marx, Lenin, the third bald-headed guy. CJ, you're a Russian.
No, the bald-headed guy in the middle there with the little goatee?
Yeah.
That's Lenin.
That's Lenin.
Well, Marx.
It's Marx and Engels.
Marx, Engels, Lenin. That's what I said,
Yeah.
And Stalin.
Marx was
Mao,
the front man. Engels was the writer.
But the payoff is...
A Russian expert, language expert.
No, the payoff is Obama is the last guy in the line. He's succeeding.
Yeah.
And then listen to this. This is the best tweet of the day. Let me find the best tweet of the day. John Nolte tweeted, "I don't believe in hope and change. I believe in low taxes and killing terrorists." That's a pretty good tweet. So here we are at the bottom of the hour, folks. TrentoVision.tv, WNN 1470 on our election analysis afternoon. We have people from all over the place. We have breaking news coming in. The Democrats filed a lawsuit in Palm Beach County to extend voting till Friday of the end of the week so they can get enough people bust in from Chicago to win.
They want to make sure everybody in Bora Bora gets a chance to cast their ballot.
And Jamie Miller had a good point. He said, look, if you're in line, Florida is one of the most open voter policies on the face of the earth. If you didn't do it by now, we had early voting, we had absentee voting, we had, we'll come to your house and take your vote. And
I tell you what, this is the first year I actually absentee vote, and I tell you what, I'm going to do it every year.
I do it every year
from the rest of my life. Because I did the early voting, I dealt with the. It's so easy. They send it to you, you fill it out, you sign it, you send it back.
But the fear is that it's not going to make it
that it won't get counted.
But
you do it for 2 weeks.
Can track
3 weeks
now,
ahead
right?
of time. You can ask for your open ballot.
Yeah, but there's a tracking deal now too.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Look, you got to have a level of trust at some point. And we just had Batsy on from Israel, giving us a unique perspective and a civics lesson to the Jewish people, the Christian people, the patriots in South Florida. Vote for Romney to save America.
Yeah.
We have somebody from France coming on now soon, right?
Yes, we do. Well, he is holding on the line, and just to let you know, there is a line delay.
Okay, so when we speak...
I'm not sure how that works.
We'll figure it out. He's not on Skype?
No, he's not Skyping. He's on the studio line. He's
got,
on the phone.
You
have his graphic.
Philippe Carcente?
Carcenti.
Yes, hi.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Philippe.
Hey, Philippe. It's Tom Trento here with CJ, Mark, and Mike. I think you've met all of us somewhere in our travels, whether you being in the States or us being out there in Paris. But why don't you take a minute, introduce yourself, and then CJ, Mark, and I have a few questions for you. Okay, my friend?
Yes. So, I'm Philippe Carcenti. I'm 46. I'm deputy mayor of the city of Neuilly, where Nicolas Sarkozy was the mayor. I've been the truth fighter on the Aldera case. I've been fighting the French government against the Aldera blood libel. And I must tell you that I live in Obama land, French is Obama land. I mean, you can imagine, it's like USSR. Today I was on a radio show in Paris, and they were so amazed that someone would defend Mitt Romney. So we started with 70% of the people in favor of Barack Obama, and then they were voting on the internet. And at the end of the show, Mitt Romney won by 54%. So I was quite happy.
Wow.
Wow. And I'm sorry, did you just say Mitt Romney won in France?
Mitt Romney, well, only on this show.
Informal. Yeah, I mean an informal poll.
Yeah, informal poll, but it's ridiculous. But, just to show you, if you just bring facts to the people, then you get them to get information, and then they understand that Barack Obama is not such an angel, And in France, when you ask anyone in the street, on the radio, on the right, left, extreme left, ask them and say, it's obvious we all vote for Barack Obama. There is no question.
Yeah, before we go a little further, let me explain, Philippe, for the viewers on TrentoVision.tv and the listeners, WNN 1470. You went over the Mohammed Al-Dura case very quickly, but to bring that back, folks, that's about 9 or 10 years ago. There was a claim in Gaza by the Palestinians that the Israeli soldiers just murdered a young boy. I think it was a 12-year-old boy, as his father was, compassionately holding him, and the Israeli soldiers just shot and killed him. And I think it was Channel 1, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was Channel 2. Yeah.
Channel 2 in France. Channel 2.
France 2, they call it.
Yeah, edited the footage and put it out all over the Arab world. And to today, there are monuments worldwide in the Arab community honoring the martyrdom of this young child. And Philippe just sensed that something was wrong, and he launched on a almost Don Quixote-like mission to expose the fraud behind Channel 1's editing of this. And he wound up getting in vicious lawsuits with the government of France and being victorious and exposing a absolute fraud. And regardless of the fact that it's a fraud, that the IDF did not do that, the kid did not die, the whole thing was staged, it was fake, the ambulances were fake, everything was fake.
Yeah.
There are still martyrdom statues and honorings all over the world, causing the jihadis to remember this incident and want to kill Jews and Christians.
Even in places where there aren't any Arabs.
Philippe,
just clarification.
Hang on one second.
Channel 2 is a state controlled? Go ahead.
So Philippe, we just want to extend our thanks for the absolute phenomenal work that you have done. You have demonstrated a tenacity and a desire for the truth that the whole world knows now. So we're honored to have you as a friend and thankful for you to be on the show, and we can get into it. Mark, you had a question for him?
Yeah, it was just Channel 2 is a state-controlled TV station, like a BBC 1, BBC 2 type of thing?
Yeah, exactly. It belongs to the French state. But I must tell you something which happened a few months ago, When I won at the Court of Appeals in Paris, then France 2 and the French government were not happy, so they went to the French Supreme Court that we call Cour de Cassation. And under the pressure of Nicolas Sarkozy, our former president, it was a direct pressure from the president, I lost the case at the Supreme Court. So now we're sent back in January on the Courts of Appeal in Paris. So it's a never-ending story because it's 12 years after it happened, and they're still covering up the blood libel. That's amazing. And remember that this foster child has been used to launch the second intifada, to justify the murder of Daniel Pearl, to justify, to help to recruit some jihadis for 9/11. So it's really the worst picture since the creation of the State of Israel, which has been broadcast by the world TVs and especially by the French public TV. So this is a huge, huge picture, and they're still denying it's a hoax, even though we have proven with more than 100 evidence that it's a hoax.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Philippe, your family originally is from North Africa. You must have watched with particular interest as the events unfolded in Benghazi and across North Africa, September 11th. I'm wondering, because you're so familiar with frauds, what you think about the cover-up of the American government in Benghazi.
Well, I think it's exactly the same. There is in France, since when I won my case against the French public TV, 800 French journalists signed a petition calling me, saying that I was like a Holocaust denier, and defending the journalists who made the fraud. And this is exactly what's happening. I mean, almost all the media are covering up the Benghazi gate in the USA, and to me, that's exactly the same process. I mean, they're all behind the lie, they're covering up the lies, and you can't hear a single voice going out and telling the truth, except people like you and some others. So that's really frightening, because it means that we're not anymore in free democracy. And what you're experiencing now in the USA is very dangerous for your country, because I'm telling you something, my friend. If you follow the path of having 4 more years of Barack Obama, then you go straight to the European way, and this is the worst way for the free world.
Philippe, how are you enjoying those 75% taxes over there right now under your new government?
Sorry?
How are you enjoying those 75% taxes that are from your new prime minister?
Well, 75% goes when you earn more than €1 million per year. I must tell you something, that even if I used to be a very successful stockbroker when I was younger, since more than 10 years, I've stopped working and I've just been spending money on my trials and fighting against the French TV. So I'm very happy to tell you that I'm not paying this kind of
the only reason I bring that up, because when you say European-style type taxes and European-style type government, that's the type of stuff that Barack Obama wants to bring about when he's talking about taxing the rich and taxing the people into submission, basically.
Taxing the productive,
right.
Never mind even the rich.
Never forget something. It's not only about tax. It's about democracy. It's about free speech. It's about the jihadis. It's about the Muslim Brotherhood. I mean, I'm telling you something. Money is nothing compared to freedom. I mean, at this stage, what is more frightening to me is not the money. It's what's going on in terms of politics, in terms of, remember, Barack Obama helped all the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, in Tunisia, in Sudan, in Libya, everywhere. I mean, that's frightening. That's really frightening for us. And if America is not a free country, who's going to save the world now?
Philippe, my wife grew up over in France and spent a lot of time over in France. In fact, I actually got engaged in Paris. And what we noticed years ago, 20, 30 years ago, there wasn't that much of a French nationalism, a French pride. Nobody, was displaying flags. But the last time we were back there, we started seeing a lot more French people displaying the French flag and a lot more patriotism coming back. Is that still occurring, or is there some type of a nationalistic patriotic revolt against this?
Are you talking about French nationalism?
Yes.
It's a joke. I mean, now in France, we're having Algerian, Moroccan, Tunisian, whatever Arabic nationalism. When François Hollande won the election at the Place de la Bastille, we didn't have a single French flag. We only had Algerian, Tunisian, Moroccan flags. I'm serious. I mean, just go on the internet to ask for the pictures. Ask pictures of François Hollande's victory, May 6, 2012. I mean, it's only Arabic countries' flags.
Really?
I'm very serious.
Wow. We heard that 90% of the Arabic vote actually voted.
Right. Something very important. A rightist guy in France, Jean-François Copé, who's the leader of the rightist party, published a book, and on the cover of the book are French flags, and he's being insulted by the media, saying,
wow.
"Oh, you're a nationalist, you're a chauvinist."
What do you want to ask?
I mean, in France it's different. Chauvinist means like patriotic, but in the wrong way. That's ridiculous.
Oh wow!
It's completely ridiculous what we're experiencing. And I'm telling you something. Despite all of that, the rightist people in France, for who they're going to vote, who do you think so? they all say, "Oh, we're going to vote for Barack Obama." Such a nice guy, such a sexy guy. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, we noticed over here in the in America, we did some investigation of the Arab vote, the Muslim Brotherhood vote.
I'm sorry, your voice doesn't go so. Maybe you go.
I said over here in America, we noticed that the Arab vote was going 90% into Barack Obama.
You're too close. You're too close. Yeah.
Yeah, we noticed that the Arab vote was going 90% to Barack Obama, and that Arab vote does that Arab vote actually replicate over in France for the new prime minister, for the leftist prime minister over there? Was it 90% though?
It was 95% of the Muslim vote went for the new French President François Hollande. But I must tell you something, because French people are so crazy French, I would say French Jews and French pro-Americans were so crazy about Nicolas Sarkozy. I never was, because I knew he was. He's never been a real friend of the free world. Right. He's always been on the wrong side. And I must tell you something. When it comes to Israel, when it comes to these kind of issues going on, in the Muslim world, it looks like François Hollande is getting much better than Nicolas Sarkozy. I don't know if it's going to last long, but at this stage, it looks much better, even though he's been elected by the Muslims.
That's interesting. Philippe, you wrote an article about your support for Romney that a few other journalists signed on with you for. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And what your hopes are if and when Romney wins the presidency here in the United States? What positive changes do you think will happen?
So look, first, we were not journalists. We were just politicians. I'm elected, and the other one were also elected guys. We were a young group of people, a group of young people, like 5 guys. We wrote this article, and we asked to have it published in the rightist newspaper in France, which is called Le Figaro. And Le Figaro said, we will never publish an article in support of Mitt Romney. So we had to go to an extreme leftist newspaper who published it as a provocation against its readers, just that you understand the state of mind. Then when we had it published, it was very amazing, because then the media started to call us and say, wait, there are some people in France who are supportive of this crazy extremist Mormon. It was like for them a shock. So I was twice on the radio today, and they just want to listen because they just don't understand. You must hear something. When they're describing Mitt Romney on TV or on radio, they're describing an idiot, a guy who doesn't even understand the word. They make fun of him. They make as if he's a ridiculous man, completely stupid. And this is every day. So for them, that some people, if you make a poll, only 5% of the French people with the big polls were supportive of Mitt Romney. And I'm sure that if you would, for example, make a poll about Bashar al-Assad, I'm sure he has much more supporters than Mitt Romney in France.
Oh my gosh! Well, you know what? We had a similar experience here in the United States until we actually had our first presidential debate back on October 2nd, and once 70 million plus American viewers actually got to see and hear Mitt Romney versus all the nonsense the media was saying about him and all the negative campaign ads that Obama put out about him. Now we're seeing the effects of people actually being able to make up their minds and think for themselves. They get a true picture. He's not the snarling religious fanatic monster that everybody tried to paint him out to be.
Yeah, you're right.
Some greedy guy who throws his grandmother over the cliff while clutching a Bible or something stupid like that.
Well, Philippe, all right, when Romney wins, we have to make a bet here, okay? Is when he wins, you got to send us a bottle of Taittinger and send it back over here, and we'll send you a bag of oranges.
You know what? I'm sorry. When you're talking, I can't hear anything because maybe you're too close from the microphone.
Oh, okay. I said when you win, so when Romney wins, you got to send us a bottle of Taittinger.
He wants some champagne. You should send him some champagne from France.
Champagne.
Yes.
But French will not publish any, will not produce any more alcohol because we're turning into an Islamic republic.
Oh no! Stomp those grapes while you can.
But we
you know what? one of your questions was about what do I hope from Barack Obama's, from Mitt Romney's victory.
Yes.
Barack Obama's defeat. I mean, it would be like, economically it will be very important because we will have a leader in the world, and diplomatically, I think it's very important to get rid of all these guys. I mean, all these Valerie Jarrett, all these people around Barack Obama, and have real guys like John Bolton and all these good guys that we want to see and rule the world. We want to have them be tough with the Iranians. You know, Barack Obama is, in English, Chamberlain. You know Chamberlain?
No.
World War II. Before World War
Yeah,
II,
Chamberlain.
Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Okay. Chamberlain.
Yeah, not Wilt Chamberlain. Neville Chamberlain.
So Barack Obama is exactly doing the same with Ahmadinejad, and it's time now. Time is up. I mean, time is up to stop these guys. It's very dangerous. We are frightened because, you're far from Iran, but we're very close, It's not about Israel. It's about Europe. I mean, the Iranians, with their ballistic capacities, they can send a bomb anywhere in the world now, I mean, in Europe. So I think it's very important to have a tough guy who goes in front of North Korea and say stop, to go in front of Vladimir Putin and say stop, to go in front of China and say stop, to go in front of Ahmadinejad and say stop. That's quite important now to have a tough guy in America. We cannot experience having more like, I would say, a nobody at the White House, trying to be nice to all these people around the world, all the bastards around the world.
Yeah, well, we're on at 47 after the hour, 4 o'clock on the East Coast. In Paris, France, it's almost 11 p.m. We're on with Philippe Corsenté, a good friend of ours. We know him from Europe. We know him from here. And why don't you take 30 seconds? We're going to have to let you go after this, Philippe. And what is your message?
I'll leave you because now I need to go to a party with Republicans and Democrats in Paris to celebrate the victory of Mitt Romney.
Okay, that sounds great. We thank you for taking the time. And
my pleasure. Okay.
Thank you so much, Philippe.
All right, we'll see you next time you're here or we're there. Take care.
Goodbye.
All right, Philippe Corsenté, good friend of ours.
Au revoir.
He is another really good guy.
He really has his battle with the French government over Mohammed al-Doura, the phony baloney deal, has been just exquisite. But for those of you listening, driving, and you still haven't voted, you only have 2 hours and 12 minutes, unless the Democrats
are successful in Palm Beach County, and then you may get some extra time.
You may get it in a couple of weeks or so, who knows. But he just laid out, we brought you somebody from Israel, and look, you want to go listen to the people that are pro-Obama from Israel and Paris, go listen to anybody in South Florida. It's the same rep.
Right.
But we're bringing you a unique perspective from Israel, from Paris, of people that are concerned about the geopolitical affairs, about the economy. One is a citizen, one is not a citizen, but he's the deputy mayor of the town that Sarkozy was the mayor of, so he's very politically astute. And he's a conservative businessman who has a family. So the message, folks, is Romney over Obama. The street, Wall Street sees it. They're starting to, they closed on the up. And you can kind of sense things are turning. So, Mark, what are your thoughts?
And I thought it was quite interesting how he paralleled the left with the Arab street, and how they're teaming up 95 percentile, and the same percentiles we're finding, in our investigations, that they're teaming up with this far leftist agenda, and for the reason being of bringing in a government anti-U.S. type feeling. And so it's very disturbing to see this pattern continue, not only here in the United States, but overseas. And we're heading down the same path,
Well, not only that, but for the record, for the viewers and listeners, Tom Trento here, TrentoVision.tv, WNN 1470, 10 minutes to the top of the hour. Not only that, Mark, and Mark is talking about the relationship that Philippe Corsenté identified between the left in Europe and the Arab world. Mark and I have been there, and Mike, and we have gone to the areas where you're not supposed to go.
The no-go zones.
And Arrondissement 18, right outside the center of Paris.
Coming soon to an American
coming
city
soon
near
to
you.
Yep.
Well, we've been there, and and we've been there, and we videotaped surreptitiously on Juma prayers Friday. Muslims taking over the whole area, laying in the middle of the street. All of this, we put that video up, obviously, on the internet, and Philippe is seeing that his culture, the French culture, has changed. He does not want to see that in America, where he comes to visit.
And understanding the French culture is a very, very, French proud culture, where they demand that people speak the French language, and they have the French language police running around. And it's
the cheese police and the wine police.
The cheese police, give me some cheese.
They identify a lot more with their
cheese.
Yeah.
They identify a lot more with their country than even we do, in some senses. And yet their culture is being stripped away by this Muslim influence. And what really surprised me...
No, they're giving it away. It's not the same.
Well, I understand that. But when he's talking about he's now seeing, large amounts of Arab flags flying in the streets. Then the areas that he's talking about are, like flying in Washington, D.C.
Yep, unbelievable stuff.
Yeah.
What did you?
Well, I just want to ask you. Do you want me to continue with my? I had a very interesting letter from a friend in Amsterdam, I can read that. But we also have Rich on the line. You want to put Rich on the line, and then I'll just read my letter later.
Yes.
Hi, Rich. Can you hear us?
Absolutely. How you guys doing?
Well, we're going off the rails on a crazy train. How about you?
Oh, no, we're doing great. We're going full speed ahead over here on the left coast of Florida.
Oh, I have to thank you for introducing us to Jamie Miller. He's absolutely fantastic.
Oh, Jamie really has it nailed down. He's a brilliant young guy. He's been doing this for quite a few years, and he knows the numbers. And I wanted to tell you, we're here in Sarasota County, which is a pivotal county. We're part of the I-4 corridor. We got the information on the early voting. President Obama almost took this county. McCain only took it by a couple of hundred votes, about 800 votes. But the early voting here in Sarasota County shows that Republicans have got versus Democrats who voted early, have got a 13,000 vote lead in early ballots cast. That includes early voting and absentee ballots.
Can you say that again?
That's a huge difference.
Can you say that again? I don't think I heard that.
Absolutely huge. So, hey, look, the momentum, at least on this coast, is fantastic, and so we're looking forward to seeing the results for Florida.
Yeah, Rich, we didn't get all of what you said. What did you say about
the early vote and absentee vote counts?
The number.
Yeah, well, in 2008, President Obama almost carried the county of Sarasota. Okay, he was only a few hundred votes away from carrying the county of Sarasota. Okay, fast forward now to the early votes, which were finished yesterday, and we have the tallies, and it appears that the Republicans have outvoted the Democrats by 13,000.
Okay, wow, that's amazing.
Some highly motivated people.
Huge difference because, McCain only carried this county by a few hundred votes. And when you have that kind of difference, now that does not include, there were about 24,000 independents that voted. So depending on how they break, and I'm guessing, 50-50, that's a huge difference in Sarasota County, which will balance out, by the way, some of the votes that are going right just where you are in Broward County and Miami-Dade County. So it's important for Mitt to do well in those counties he needs to do well in, and Sarasota is clearly one of them.
Excellent. All right, Rich, we're coming up to a hard break here. We thank you for your report your fascinating report from Sarasota, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like all over the state of Florida now we're starting to get this input. There's a momentum moving in the right direction. Too soon to celebrate, but these are all good indicators, and we got to go, Rich. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you either later this evening or tomorrow on tomorrow's show. You're with Tom Trento, CJ, Mark, Mike, and Ken, and we'll be back just in a little bit after the top of the hour, folks, on this Election Day special.
Ken's like, no, you're not with me.
Thanks for tuning in to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Tom Trento can be reached at 561-319-5533 or tom@trentovision.tv. And tune in again weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
This is Steve Kane, and for some time now I've become concerned that my memory is not what it used to be. Now, I know that a degree of memory loss is a natural part of the aging process, but as my lapses became more frequent, I began to worry maybe this was something more serious, like Alzheimer's. As my anxiety began to increase, I did a little research and found Lifespan Health Services in Boca, where they offer complete memory testing, which is covered by Medicare. That would answer the questions that had been causing me so much stress. I went through the testing. The results showed I was not developing Alzheimer's. My diagnosis, sleep apnea, easily treatable, and what a relief. Call Lifespan Health Services today at 561 area code 969-0102. That's 561-969-0102. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
In 1966 in Anchorage, Alaska, a talented child was born. He would go on to be one out of only 11 Alaskans to make it to the major leagues. The odds of him striking out more than 3,000 hitters? 1 in 33 million. The odds of this pitcher being selected to the Major League Baseball All-Star Game 6 times? 1 in 48 million. The odds of this fast-balling philanthropist winning the World Series 3 times? 1 in 3 million. The odds of this man having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 110. Hi, I'm Kurt Schilling. Learn the signs of autism at autismspeaks.org. Autism is getting closer to home. From 1 in 5,000 only 20 years ago, today 1 in 110 children are diagnosed. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Autism Speaks. It's time to listen. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
What you want to know. What you need to know. This is South Florida's Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WNN. This is Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WWNN Pompano Beach, and WKIS HD3, Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Because of your hard work, the next President of the United States, Mitt Romney.
President Obama is sounding upbeat as he spends Election Day in his hometown of Chicago.
The president dropped by a campaign field office not far from his home to phone a few backers in Wisconsin and to tell reporters things are looking good.
We feel confident we've got the votes to win.
But he also had Election Day wishes for Mitt Romney.
Congratulations on a spirited campaign. I know that his supporters are just as engaged and just as enthusiastic and working just as hard today.
Obama's also been doing a series of local TV interviews. Aides convinced it's a better use of his time than tying up those volunteers with a last-minute rally. Mark Smith with the Obama campaign, Chicago.
There are some challenges as people vote in New York. Staten Island resident Eva Rodriguez, who lost her home in Superstorm Sandy, says everyone needs to take time to vote.
We need to let our voices be heard. So, if you don't vote today, then you can't complain tomorrow.
No matter who wins the presidential race, it looks like Congress will remain divided. Bill Galston of the Brookings Institution says Republicans are sure to keep control of the House.
The Republicans already have more than enough seats in the bag to retain control, and the only question is, will they retain their current majority or lose a few seats?
Republicans most likely won't win enough races to take over the Senate. Puerto Ricans don't get a chance to vote for president, but they are deciding whether they want to change their ties with the U.S. The options are become a 51st U.S. state, independence, or more autonomy. Your first stop for breaking news. This is America's Radio News.
Did you know that snoring might be evidence of a disease process that could reduce lifespans by as much as 20%? Did you also know that a weak or receding jawline is not necessarily a genetic trait, but rather evidence of a disease process that is not only detrimental to appearance, but overall health? This same weak or receding jawline often produces sleep apnea, snoring, and other health effects that can reduce lifespans by up to 20%. Well, there is good news. There's now a rare, non-invasive procedure where a strong jawline can be reclaimed and a whole series of health benefits along with it. To learn more about this amazing restoration process, go to fixjaws.com and watch a 5-minute video that can change your appearance and your life. That's fixjaws.com. Or call 1-855-FIX-JAWS. That's 1-855-FIX-JAWS. Call now.
Forecasters are hopeful a storm moving toward the East Coast will stay farther out to sea than first predicted. However, many areas still recovering from Sandy will get strong winds. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie says the nor'easter brings new worries.
Just when I thought I was going to start to get some more sleep, we're going to get the nor'easter, and I think it's going to be all hands on deck again. So certainly will not be anywhere near as severe as Hurricane Sandy, but it comes in the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy where we're already a bit compromised.
The storm could knock out power to people who just got it back. One person is dead and 3 others are wounded after a workplace shooting in Fresno, California. Police say the gunman is also in extremely critical condition after he shot himself. The suspect is a parolee with a long criminal history. The director of the Massachusetts pharmacy linked to a deadly meningitis outbreak is getting a subpoena to testify before a House committee. Barry Cadden had reportedly declined an invitation to appear before Congress next week. The outbreak has killed 30 and made over 400 people sick. There's some positive news today on home values. CoreLogic reports home prices jumped 5% in September compared to a year ago. It's the largest year-over-year increase in more than 6 years. Prices did decline slightly in September from August. It might not be hard to tell if you're at risk for heart problems. AP correspondent David Melendi reports looking old may be a sign.
Heart disease might be staring you in the face. When you look in the mirror, look for a receding hairline or baldness, wrinkles near your earlobes, or bumpy deposits on your eyelids. A study discussed at an American Heart Association conference suggests that people with those signs of aging have a greater chance of developing heart disease than younger-looking people the same age do. Of 11,000 people in Denmark studied for 35 years, the ones with those signs were more likely to have had a heart attack or clogged arteries. But don't worry about wrinkles elsewhere on your face or gray hair. They're just normal consequences of aging. I'm David Melendi.
Journalism without agenda. This is America's Radio News.
America's Radio News. Your
HD2. This is Health and Wealth Radio, WWNN. What you want to know. What you need to know. This is South Florida's Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to Trentovision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trentovision is hosted by Tom Trento. Tom can be reached at 561-319-5533 or Tom at trentovision.tv. Listen and watch every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and trentovision.tv. Now, let's get a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
You guys are the fortunate ones to, at least on the video side, to watch us picking our teeth and eating our candy bars in the 5 to the 5 o'clock break, top of the hour, 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock Snickers
That's
break.
That's our food break. So I got to take these things, there's Snicker bars and Baby Ruths and whatever 75 cents we'll buy in the Beasley Broadcasting Corporation cafeteria.
And why is that? That's because CJ forgot to bring the Kashi bars yet again. But that's because I've been too busy to shop.
Who brought the champagne?
The champagne is for tomorrow.
Speaking of champagne.
Champagne and pizza.
Speaking of champagne, we just got an on-the-ground report from the Adam Hasner campaign from one of the operatives there. I will read it to you, word for word.
Please do.
Or in another way, verbatim. You're with Tom Trento, Trento Vision at 5:06, by the way, for the new folks just tuning in as you're leaving work, and you're probably a Republican if you're leaving work and you're going to vote. And the lines may be long, but go there and vote. It's critically important. And you're with CJ, myself, Mark, Mike, and Ken's in the booth making all this stuff happen. We will take some calls this hour, 565-1470. Make sure you put the 3 little 8s before that. 888-565-1470. Very simple to know. 888 means it's free. You don't have to pay for it. 1470 is what you're listening to, or you wouldn't know that I'm saying this. So all you have to do is remember 3 numbers, and we make it easy. 5 and 6, and then jump back to 5. 565. Okay? 888-565-1470. We will take your calls. The first hour, we had some breaking news with Democrats filing a lawsuit in Palm Beach County because they felt that they didn't have enough time to get their people out.
It's so hard to vote in Florida. It
really is. They couldn't get their people out in time, so they needed more time. So they filed a lawsuit to extend the voting hours. It's supposed to end in 3 hours, 8 o'clock. The lawsuit has been filed. These sort of things will be adjudicated very quickly by judges that are ready to go, and I'm sure
judges that are ready to get voted out.
This action will be dispensed with very quickly because it's nonsensical. And the precedent for it was that some of the machines weren't working and people couldn't stay, and now they got to come back at night, and all that sort of whining and crying. But then in the second hour, we went to Europe. We looked at Israel and the Middle East and Europe, got that perspective on this election. This hour, we have one more voice from Europe, which is important because on our national security work, we just don't look at the U.S., but we take a global perspective. These are some of the folks we work with globally. And we have a couple of local reports, but here's an on-the-ground report from the Hasner campaign. All vibes are very positive on the ground. Okay, we like that. We're fans of Adam Hasner and his congressional campaign. And we have no interest in Lois Frankel, who is one of the whack job political people I've ever seen in the state of. I used to debate her 25 years ago on various issues on another radio station up north. And she served in the State House. Then she went on to become the mayor of West Palm Beach, and I sat in so many commission meetings where she was the mayor, and she she's a cartoon character, a complete cartoon character compared to Adam Hasner, who's a consummate businessman, and
she sounds kind of like Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Yeah, and if you watch the debate, between Adam Hasner and her, it was like. However bad you thought Barack Obama did against Romney, I mean, she made Barack Obama look good. Yeah. I mean, she was that bad. She was just horrible. I mean, I'm just like, how can Sinjin Dean even
She's
think
one of
about
these ladies. She has a need for public acclamation, for people to shake her hand and do all that. She has a need for that.
She likes to be a big shot.
Yeah, and she's got some, connections with money, all of that stuff. So she gets the money to run for campaigns, and there's enough nitwit people to vote for her. Hopefully not this time, that's for sure. But listen to the rest of the report from the Hasner campaign. The operative there, and a fairly well-placed operative who would know what's going on, says the Obama campaign has nowhere near the presence it had in 2008. Wow. In many precincts, they have one person, if any at all. Quite a contrast to 2008. Now, anybody know how many precincts there are in the state of Florida? How many people in a precinct? So I have a little Florida civics class.
Now help us out, Tom.
Well, Mike?
Give me 2 seconds.
He's cheating.
He's Googling.
He's cheating. Each precinct is broken down to 1,000 people. Okay? So it's managed at that level. And in the state of Florida, there are 6,474. That could be a crazy make-believe guess, or it could be pretty accurate. What do you think? Was it a make-believe?
Well, I was going to say 6,000 because that's how many voting stations were opened. Because there's 300 before in a pre-election. So if the lines were really long at 300, which is understandable, if you go vote now, and you can still get in there, the lines are really short from what we're hearing, that there are 1 or 2 people in line. So
there's over 6,000 precincts. So everybody has an opportunity.
Some are busier than others, and
of course,
but
but you're not going to get the 3-hour lines.
Yeah,
but they're busier not because there's more people in a precinct. There's only 1,000 people in a precinct, so every precinct has the same amount of people. It's the movement of people through that make it busy.
Yeah.
So no precinct has more people than any other precinct.
So but 1,000 people don't vote at every precinct.
Yeah. No, and out of those 1,000, probably 50% are going to vote. So 500 people in that little church on the corner, all standing there, trying to go through every one of those amendments. Takes a long time sometimes.
Yeah, but just to reiterate, the lines are not. So if you haven't voted yet and you're Republican, the lines are really short and you get right in there. But if you're Democrat, the lines are really long. Don't worry about it.
No, we're fair. Everybody needs to get out. I just don't think I mean, we've been at this a long time.
Right.
We've been on this battle several years. It's not a matter of thinking. The facts are, certainly the initial excitement about President Obama and Philippe Carcente, who was just our guest. I was and Michael and a few others. We were in Paris during the inauguration of the president, 2009. And on Champs-Élysées, the big wide boulevard going up to the Arc
de Triomphe.
There was. They have these beautiful outdoor poster billboards, artwork with pictures on them, and Obama was on every single one of them. Every news magazine in the newsstands, Obama, Obama, Obama. Certainly, and that was in the United States also. Certainly, that sort of.
That was very creepy.
That was, I mean, it was messianic in a real sense. There's none of that now. I mean, the emperor's clothes are off. But do you think there's a Hegelian, you go out here and it kicks back all the way over here within the Democrat Party? Hegel's thesis, antithesis, and synthesis.
Right.
When a movement goes to one extreme,
right,
then there's the corresponding antithesis to that thesis.
The pendulum swing
goes back the other way. Do you think that's what's happening in the Democrat Party? That they just said, this guy isn't the guy we thought he was?
No.
What do you think's going on? Why the lack of excitement this cycle?
Because they already had their burst of excitement. There's nothing to get excited about now. Now it's just justifying the position more than anything else. It's not necessarily reconsidering the position for a lot of them. That would call into question a whole lifetime of knowledge and thought, which I don't see a whole lot of examination on the Democrat side. But also you have the independents. The independents truly are independent in this election. And they did break away, and they're not part of the excitement that they were part of 4 years ago. And I think that's what you're seeing in terms of lack of overall excitement.
Well, I see the fact that, 4 years ago, we kind of made up what we thought Barack Obama should be in our heads without any real knowledge or really real evidence. And people who did some serious research beforehand knew who he was. Mm-hmm. But majority of people don't do that. They look at it and they put their own image, and nobody knew anything about this guy. He never ran for anything. He never ran a business. So it was, you made up what you wanted to believe in him, and therefore you put your own values onto Barack Obama. And now that you've seen what he is, you're like, those aren't my values anymore. And if you're on the left, the far left, you're thinking that, oh my God, he's not, the hardcore leftist I thought he was, because now he's moderating to the middle. And his positions vacillate so much to hard left to now he's center. Now nobody knows where he's at anymore. He's a chameleon. Barack Obama is a chameleon, and he got away with that 4 years ago.
Nobody knew him.
Nobody knew him. He could be whatever you wanted him to be.
He had no record.
And that's the reason there was, oh my God, he's the new Messiah. Oh my God, he's what I want him to be. Now all the smoke and mirrors is gone from me.
Well, the other thing is, I agree only a little bit with that. I think the hardcore left is totally doubling down on him. They're not changing their minds.
Oh
about
yeah,
him.
I'll agree with that.
But I think part of it was there's no George Bush really in this election. They tried to put him in the election a couple of times, and I think he was part of the excitement for a lot of people in 2008 was he was hated and reviled so much by the Democrats, and they just skewered him in the media relentlessly for 8 years. So there was a lot of excitement to replace him with somebody who they thought would be more positive and a real change from George Bush. Well, now this time we don't have to have a change from George Bush because we just had 4 years of a change from George Bush.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So where's all the hope and excitement for change coming from? We already had it.
The only thing that's left, and for those of
It's
you...
kind of like having leftovers.
For those of you watching at 17 minutes, you got it plugged in? No, it needs to be charged. For those of you watching, my computer just shut off. And
are you?
It got red hot, is what happened.
Oh, do you want a thingy for it?
No, it's from monitoring the feed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Shouldn't do that though. And
buy a Mac.
Yeah, that one's still running there. 18 after the hour, Tom Trento. Trento Vision, WNN 1470. We're here on our Election Day special. Right now, we're kind of just pitter-pattering, chit-chat, analyzing what's taking place. And what we see from the indicators from people on the ground, from reading reports, and from speaking to some of our experts, that the election is definitely going for Mitt Romney in that direction. And we're kind of analyzing why that's happening. The luster essentially is off of President Obama. He isn't the magician that everyone thought he would be in 2008 and solve all the problems. And it really looks pathetic when he's on the stage saying, these are the problems, these are the problems, these are the problems. I need 4 more years. And you go, wait a minute.
You just had 4 years.
They're your problems, and now you need 4 more years when you said, and it's very simple for people to see through that this guy is, instead of saying, look, I blew it, I made a bunch of mistakes, but we've learned from our mistakes, we're going to go the right way. We didn't realize how bad it was from George Bush. It was worse than we thought, So, but having said that the luster is off and the excitement isn't there for the Democrats right now, what about, when they get in there and they go, but he's better than the conservatives. Even though he's terrible, he's our terrible guy. He's for abortion. He's for gay rights, which a lot of people are that's their life now. What about that factor? You think that's going to play out, or are those people going to stay home, or what?
I think those people are staying home.
Yeah.
I think those people are staying home. The people who are getting out and voting today, they care about the economy, and they care about America's image in the world, and having a strong United States of America. And those are the two concerns in this election.
Yeah, and you're seeing that, and you're seeing what CJ is saying actually on the ground physically over the early voter turnout, and that is just huge. That if Barack Obama to win, he has to hold on to everything he held on to 2008. Mm-hmm. And just not seeing that.
It's just not there.
Their turnout.
Well, let's pursue that for a second. Do you know, and this is for the audience, if you want to get in on the conversation, 888-565-1470. Does anybody in this room, anybody driving or listening anywhere, know any Republican that voted for McCain in 2008 that now has said, You know, I looked at Romney. I've investigated Romney. I've examined President Obama. I'm going with Obama this time.
No.
Do you? That's certainly not you guys. Have you heard of any Republican?
No.
Well, I'll give you a Democrat that looked at McCain last time, okay, and said, "I'm voting for McCain."
No, hold that first. I want to pursue the. Are there any Republicans out there? Any Republican anywhere in the face of the earth that has changed their vote from the Republican Party regarding the presidential?
Well, even an independent.
Not yet. We're going to get to that. Any Republicans that have said, you know what, President Obama has a better plan than the Republicans. Even though I'm a Republican, I'm going to go with President Obama. I'm going somewhere with this.
Well,
do we know anybody like that?
No, I
don't.
don't.
No, and actually the antithesis is that is with the newspapers. You saw the newspapers, all
good point.
All the papers that were pro McCain stayed pro McCain, except for one wacky newspaper.
Mad Magazine stuck with Obama.
But there's a lot of Democrat papers that flipped and went for Romney, But go ahead.
All right, well, let's establish the point that no Republican on the face of the earth is voting for Obama. And this show goes all over the world.
And actually, you're right. There were Republicans back in 2008 who were voting for Obama.
Yes.
A lot of them were columnists for major newspapers and major
we got to give him a chance. He's
national
a black
magazines.
Guy,
yeah,
the healing of the nation.
He's a smart guy from Harvard. Blah 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 blah. All this kind of stuff.
All right, so we know no votes are jumping the aisle.
Right.
Now let's go on the other side. Hold the independents. Let's go. We have Ruthie on the line.
Yeah, we do.
Why don't you bring her
Yeah.
in? Let's talk to her, and then we'll.
Hi, Ruth. Are you there? Lipstick Pundit.
How are you?
Hi. How's it going today?
Good. I'm reporting from a polling place. It's here in Broward County. It's George English Park. We did have a problem early in the day. A machine broke down, and there was a long, long wait. But since
we will sue you, Ruth. We will sue you. What is your name? Get in line.
It's been fixed, and everybody's happy. So things are moving pretty well. I've been to 5 different polling areas, and I haven't seen the incidents. People seem to be pretty copacetic and getting along. No incidents to report as of yet.
Well, no news is good news.
Yeah, I do have some input, though. The value voters have been voting in increasing numbers. They have had a very, very good turnout. These are the conservatives.
Value voters. That sounds like a Burger King experiment. What is a value voter?
Value voters. These are the ones who are Steinberger people.
Steinberger.
Steinberger people, right. Very conservative, and they've been voting in record numbers. So
you mean wacky Christians? You mean wacky Christians?
Right.
Yeah, she didn't want to say that.
Oh, wacky Christians.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. I can say that. I happen to be one of them, so I can say that.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's very good.
Yes, you are, Tom.
Yes.
We did some polling today for Colorado, and that was interesting because that's a very close state.
Whoa. You did polling for Colorado?
Mm-hmm.
And why is that?
There was some polling done. I really can't say because it's a nonpartisan group. But there was some polling that was done, random polling done today for Colorado. And it appears that Romney is doing quite well in Colorado.
So you helped you helped your one of your states out. Oh, that's. Don't you have enough work to do, or whoever did this in the state of Florida, or is it that confident that things are going well?
It's a group that's in the state of Florida. I think that my contention is they feel that Florida looks pretty good for Romney, and so they moved on to polling for other states, Ohio as well as Colorado.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
What she just said to the viewers and listeners here at 24 after the hour on a beautiful 6th of November, a day of light. The day the light will start to shine again. 76 degrees in Boca. Ruth, our lipstick pundit, is reporting that groups in Florida are now helping other states because their work has been done so well. You know, you like to you like to be analytical here and put all these bits of information together to make a circumstantial case, as a jury would or a forensic scientist would, And the forensic case, that's good, put that up. And the forensic case is clearly pointing to Obama. Now, this will make the shock even more if tomorrow we find out that, pointing to Romney, this will make the shock even more because all the lines of evidence are pointing in one direction. But we've all been around elections and we all know, oh my God, things change so rapidly. But not this one. We'll win this one. What else you got, Ruthie?
Well, there's a lot of disinformation on Twitter because the Obama, their minions want to present false numbers. For example, there was a Twitter feed that stated that Florida was really close. In fact, it indicated that Obama was actually leading in Florida. And, of course, I tweeted back that these are very false numbers because I think that I'm feeling that Romney's probably ahead comfortably by at least 4 or 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Pretty neat. 4 or 5 here. That's what you're thinking?
That's what I'm thinking.
Wow.
Our polling earlier indicated that the independents and undecideds are breaking overwhelmingly for Romney. And these are the people who are probably going to decide the election for Florida, and they're definitely in the Romney camp.
All right, hang on one second. We were just discussing that. We established here, Ruth, and for the listeners and viewers, that we know of. Now, do you know of any Republicans, Ruth, who, like they did in 2008, decided that to give the Democrat a shot, and Republicans did cross party lines and vote for President Obama in 2008. Do you know of any Republican anywhere in the United States that's voting for President Obama this year?
I really don't know, but I know that the people we've been polling are very enthusiastic for Romney. The independents and undecideds really have their minds made up.
Okay, so one step at a time. We've established that there are no Republicans jumping the aisle. Now, talk to us, Ruth, about your understanding. You've been on the ground a lot doing this. Are there any Democrats that you know of that are jumping the aisle and not voting for their candidate, but voting for the opposition candidate, Mitt Romney?
Yes, quite a few. You have, number one, the conservative blacks. The very religious Christian blacks are breaking for Romney because of his stance, because of Obama's stance on gay marriage. They're very unhappy with that, and they're breaking for Romney because of their Christian values.
Okay, interesting. What other demographics in the Democrat Party?
There are other Democrats who have been breaking for Romney as well. Just independent people we've talked to in our polling, they've been breaking away too. So I don't think that. I think Obama's 2008 supporters are definitely breaking away.
Now, what about this amorphous group, undecideds, independents, whatever they are? What is your tangible information on where they're going and why?
Well, because of the economy, and they're very angry. I mean, they are very, very angry with Barack Obama. In fact, I don't even think any amount of advertising you throw their way would change their minds.
Oh, what a good picture.
I noticed a very, very huge shift, and I think this happened probably after the first debate. There was a huge Romney surge, and it continued. It never really stopped. It just accelerated.
That's interesting. The acceleration of October 3rd, and that was the first debate. Okay, anything else? Anybody have a question for Ruthie here? Any other information?
Well, in Ohio, the information in Ohio is Mitt leads by 13, according to CNN and Rasmussen. And the Bush-McCain area...
Whoa.
Say that again?
From what I saw on Twitter, Mitt's leading.
By 13?
He's leading in Ohio. And the Bush and McCain areas are way up. And the Barack Obama areas, that was strong for him in 2008, are down. So that's very good for Romney in Ohio.
Well, this could be a Dick Morris prediction. It could be a landslide then. And
well, the only thing is we have to factor in, this is very important, there's a lot of voter fraud that's going on. One person reported yesterday that he voted 4 times. And so we have to factor in the voter fraud. Without the voter fraud, I'm sure it was very, very positive for Romney. But we have to realize that there's fraud going on, and we have to factor that in.
Well, we had an interesting update by Peter Feynman at the beginning of the show. They tracked through some statistical analysis. They tracked a path to a Romney victory without winning Ohio and Pennsylvania. And they essentially gave all of those electoral votes, I think they're 31 total, to Obama on the fraud factor, that a sufficient amount of fraud on the Democrat side is going to get through, that they'll steal 31 electoral votes, and they still developed a path of victory for Romney. Now, this is all statistical, and, but a lot of this stuff is pretty consistent. So, interesting, Ruthie. You're doing a phenomenal job.
Well, thanks. There's only one other report I wanted to mention. It was in the Blaze, and that mentioned that Obama's camp might declare a premature victory just to discourage the Romney voters. I don't know if it's happened, but that's been tweeted around that could happen. So if you do hear about that, I wouldn't take it seriously.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point. But I don't think any Republicans would believe that at this point. So
right.
I don't think they're going to get discouraged and stay home. I think any of them who haven't voted yet haven't voted because they're still at work.
Well, I notice a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of passion amongst the people who are pro-Romney, and that they're definitely energized, which is very exciting.
Well, I'm reading an update on the Columbus Dispatch.
Peter calling in
right now. Peter's on the line. Good.
Oh, good. I just texted him.
I'm reading an update on the Columbus Dispatch, which is the major paper in Columbus, and they're reporting an unusual number of provisional ballots cropping up in Columbus and Cleveland, causing concerns that they could impact a close election. And we know that the provisional component in Ohio is a 10-day window. So theoretically, we could be 10 days.
Oh, no, I don't even want to think. Could you guys imagine, after everything that we've been through for these months and these years, that we would have to wait another 2 or 3 weeks to find out who the president is?
Remember 2000? It was like 30 days, 35 days. Let's bring Peter on. Bring Peter on.
Yeah, Peter, are you there?
Can you read me all right?
Yes, yes. Ruth, can you stay on?
Yes,
sure.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, Ruth was reporting that there's a plus 13 by CNN in Ohio. What have you heard, Peter?
We need to win by 5 in order to win by 1. What does that tell you?
Yeah, there's a lot of fraud going on, isn't there?
Right. Right. And it's actually, they've been, the rumor, we can't prove it, is that they've been planning this for months. But if you win by enough, it won't matter. So that's the goal, just like in 2004. So that's where we're at. And at this point now, it's a wait and see.
Well, what else, Peter?
What happened? Any updates on this case that was filed in Palm Beach County by the Democrats to get an emergency extension of the voting?
Yes. There's no hearings pending, and nothing is in the works in terms of a court hearing or anything. So as it stands right now, barring something unforeseen, the polls will close at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
In Palm Beach County.
7 or 8? Because we're
7. 7 o'clock in Palm Beach County. But they won't announce the results of the state until 8 o'clock because we have the Panhandle that's in the Central Time Zone.
Oh, that's what it is.
That's why.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you remember in 2000 they actually announced for Gore.
Right.
After 7 o'clock, and literally there were thousands of people in
Yeah.
the Panhandle that were Bush voters that went home.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, don't let this happen to
That's
you,
right.
Panhandle.
Oh, my
That's
God.
what Ruth was saying.
And they're all Republicans up
Yeah.
So what about?
Vote.
So what about?
I can only say vote once, unlike some of the other folks around the country.
So what about New Hampshire and Pennsylvania? Any updates on those two key areas?
We have spent, I can now tell you, $10 million in Pennsylvania in the last 7 days.
Wow.
Once we got word that it looked like the voters were coming around, and the Obama folks only spent $3 million. And so the Pennsylvania voters have not seen the negative attack ads, which are mostly lies, concerning Romney like they have in Ohio and other places. So we are actually cautiously optimistic about Pennsylvania.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that would be huge.
Very
If
interesting.
he takes Pennsylvania, it's game time. Yeah. And so
Right, that would take the place of Ohio.
And so all the other
Actually, Pennsylvania has 20 electoral votes, even more than Ohio does. But people had been taking the Obama campaign took Pennsylvania for granted, and so that could be the big surprise of this election. So stay tuned on that.
And what about Virginia and Wisconsin, even, and Colorado and Iowa?
Wisconsin, we're very confident because in the
Really?
last 2 years we've won every statewide election there is in Wisconsin because of the recall election.
Because
we have
of the
a
recall,
huge ground game. We have a huge ground game in Wisconsin. Of course, that's where Ryan is from, and the chairman of the Republican National Committee, Reince Priebus, is from Wisconsin. So we're looking for Wisconsin to be colored solidly red by the end of the night.
Ooh, that's huge. Yeah, that's huge.
I like
That's
the sound of that.
Well, Wisconsin's 11, isn't 11 votes up there?
I don't have my map in front of me.
Yeah, I think it's 11.
No, I don't think
No,
so.
I don't
it's
think
like
that would
3.
be high, wouldn't
That's
it,
two or-
for
it's-
Wisconsin?
It's a
I don't
small one,
think-
yeah.
Yeah, no,
what am I
it's a
thinking? Oh, okay, I'm thinking of the
Let me check. I'll check.
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
But
Is it
anyway.
Wisconsin or Wisconsin?
Wisconsin. Wisconsin.
It's Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
It's Wisconsin.
So,
Peter, what's the excitement level like in Tampa going later in the afternoon?
10.
There's not going to be any. Everybody's working so hard, putting out so many fires. Nobody has time to think about everything except what's the next crisis that we have to deal with.
Oh, well.
So that won't happen. Things won't settle in until after 7 o'clock when we get to calm down a little bit.
Well, what kind of crises have you seen while you were there this afternoon?
Well, it's Dade County, of course, is another horror show. The turnout is far surpassed what anybody predicted, and we're just hoping that it's the Cuban community that's coming out to vote because they've seen what can happen when people forget
socialism.
When they give too much power to the chief executive. So if the Cuban community comes out like we're hoping they do, it's game, set, and match for the state of Florida.
Well, I was in a meeting, a private meeting, I could reveal now,
In Coral Gables.
about 3 or 4 months ago,
Yeah.
somewhere down there, with some of the
Well, I was just saying that it was Dade County.
It was Dade
so
County.
It was Coral Gables. You can say that.
and with some leaders from the state and with a group of about 20 leaders from the Cuban community. And it was one of the most humbling moments of my life. Most of these guys were survivors of the Bay of Pigs, Unit 519, or whatever the name was, abandoned by the U.S. government. And then I was sitting next to the Brothers of Flight. Remember, they used to go and rescue the Cubans that were coming. They would find the Cubans, go out and fly their private planes. I was sitting next to one of them. And the bottom line was, there's 1 million Cubans down there, and they said, we will turn all of them out. We will turn the Cuban community out for Romney. So that could be what's going on.
There.
Yep, that could be tremendous.
Yeah, but the Venezuelans, too. A lot of the Venezuelans are down there, too, and they experience Chavez.
Yep.
Well, and I actually experienced the Venezuelans and the Republican Venezuelans down in Venezuela, and they said, guys, you don't want Chavez coming to your country, and that's what you got in Obama.
Chavez is supporting Obama. You know,
Yeah, he voted for him. Yeah, I voted for you,
Hey,
buddy.
Peter, I got a serious
with
question
Putin
for you.
and Castro.
10
Peter, I
votes,
got a-
10 votes Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's got 10. I got a serious question for you, Peter.
Go.
We're trying to figure out when the show's over at 6 o'clock where our party GPS program this evening, and what's going on up at the dog track, the kennel, and all that. What's that all about?
The dog track at the Kennel Club is the main party for the county.
All right, who's going to be there? What's going to happen? And what's the,
Yeah, Sid Dinerstein will be there. A lot of the campaign operatives will be there. Now, a lot of the candidates have their own parties, but as far as where most of the county people and most of the people are going to be, I think where you're going to get the most excitement, I'd go to the dogs.
Okay, that sounds good.
I think
go
people
to the
who
dogs.
contributed to the campaign would be going there versus some other places.
Yeah.
It's mostly the worker bees that are going there, and you know, they
Worker
provide-
bees?
Yeah.
That's us, yeah.
Where are the drones going, Peter?
We're chasing money. We're chasing dollars, Peter. We need advertisers. We need advertisers.
Gosh, I can't say Coral Gables, and I can't,
The Queen Bee's in Tampa.
Oh,
okay.
Hey,
Okay.
you got a dual mission then, Peter. Okay. Bring back some checks.
Our
Yeah, if you want to be talking on the radio over the next couple of months,
Our consigliere wants to get paid.
make sure you have an outlet for your views, okay?
Say your boys back home need a little taste of the action. That's all. So, okay, well, it's going to be a long night for you, I'm sure, Mr. Peter Feynman. We appreciate you being on the air with us.
And you and Ruth, we have our phones charged, so please text us with all your updates all through the evening, because just because we're not on the radio doesn't mean we don't want to know stuff.
That's right.
Okay, we'll give you updates.
And Peter Feynman, the Republican National Committee man for the state of
For the
Florida,
state of Florida. Show off.
the grand poobah for the Republicans in the state of Florida. Thank you very much.
Hey, we'll have you guys on tomorrow to do a after action report here.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
If you're awake.
I do have my cigars.
All right. Take it easy.
Right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye, guys. Okay.
I'll take it.
It's all looking good.
I'll take it.
Well, it goes back to that theory we were talking about earlier. There is the turnout is extremely low, and if the Cubans turn out down there for 1 million, man, it'll destroy it.
Million Cubans down there.
And he's seen, and what Peter's saying is that he's seen a huge turnout in Dade County, which normally you would think would be bad, but if it's a Cuban that's turning out, which they did not turn out for Obama last time.
Yep. No, that's
that's huge.
Yeah, and they didn't turn out for McCain either.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, from my personal barometer here, having been through a lot of campaigns, at this stage of the game, a couple hours before the polls close, that's interesting the way it works in Florida. They close, but they don't really close till 8 o'clock over there, but they can't say anything about what's over here.
Right.
This is pointing in the right direction pretty solidly.
Right.
It's solidly pointing in the right direction. Now, typically what you do at this point, and what is being done on a micro to a macro scale, all the people running for a local office, they're actually looking at the precincts that have come in, and they look at where the people live. The ones that live in more wealthier areas are Republicans, the ones that you think.
Right.
So there's demographic breakdown. They got all that. So they see who came in. And if all the bad guys, from their point of view, have already come in, they're still open good guy precincts, they go, whoa, we're in great shape. Adam Hasen is doing the same thing now in terms of his district, not on a precinct level. He's got a little wider area. He's looking at who's in. And if a bad area for him hasn't come in yet, they're biting their fingernails. Man, they're just going, oh. I was I ran a congressional campaign in 1994 with Gingrich, Contract with America, out of California. And we were running against a 17-year incumbent. And at this time of the night, actually, after the polls closed, we were ahead by about a point.
Wow.
And we looked, and Davis, University of California, Davis.
Oh no! You're like, oh no!
Did not come in.
Goodbye.
You're like, oh God!
Yeah.
How bad are we going to get hurt?
Oh,
here?
Yeah.
And they came in, and they.
And so you lost by 7 points.
No, we lost by one or two. It was close, but that was it just rips your stomach out.
Man.
Yeah,
but it's the data. You see it there, and you go, okay. San Francisco is not going to vote for a conservative, okay? It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I would love to look at that data right now around the country, and people are doing it, but and I didn't hear anything about an exit poll. Remember 4 years ago?
Yeah.
There were exit polls all over the place. 2 years ago.
I think they're gun shy. I think they're gun shy because they know that their numbers are not matching up to their.
It's a bunch of lies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's hear from our friend in Amsterdam. He had an interesting.
Okay.
You want to read his little deal? He had an interesting little.
Yeah. We have a friend in Amsterdam.
What's his name?
No,
his name is. He goes by the name of Caesar.
Okay.
Is it a he or a she? You never know.
Well, I think it's
Cesar.
I think it's a he because he's going by Caesar and not Caesarina. So I'm thinking it's a he, but maybe
it's a he. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe he's not sure.
Okay.
And just one second, because he's on my next page. We invited him on the show today to give us a point of view from Europe, and he says, "I'm sorry, I'm not able to appear on the radio with you because we have hate crimes laws here in Holland, and I'm afraid if I say something on the radio that could be deemed offensive to some Muslim out there somewhere, that the Dutch government can arrest me and put me in jail. So please read my statement. I'll send you a letter. Please read my statement, and I apologize, but I can't speak freely on the radio or on the internet, and I just want to make sure it doesn't happen to you." And that's what he
wow.
That's what he sent. Now, I sent this to you, Tom.
What?
I sent you this letter. Yeah, I think I sent you.
Oh,
the
you
letter.
can't find it?
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Yeah, here it is. It's easier to find it in my sent than it is in my in.
Yeah,
I have 10,000 emails since I sent this. Okay, here we go. Here's the letter. Dear Cheryl, the Dutch people are very poorly informed about the situation in America. The most influential Dutch media, the Dutch mainstream media, including our state-run radio and TV news, have all been backing Obama for 4 years now. Especially the state-run 8 o'clock TV news show is very influential. They have portrayed Romney as some sort of crazy religious man whom you cannot trust. I guess it's okay to offend his religion.
Yeah.
American conservatives, like Tea Party people, should be more aware of their bad image they have in the rest of the world. What is needed is the same thing that Israel has done after many years of hate reporting of this country in Europe. The Israeli government has started to invest in public diplomacy to polish the image of the Israeli state. Netanyahu is the first Israeli leader who invests in this. The only group of people that promotes strongly the moral and benefit of free market society are Dutch libertarians. They are a small group and do not hold conservative views with regard to ethical issues such as abortion or gay marriage. What is needed now is transatlantic cooperation between American Tea Party people and European conservative activists to promote the free market system, defeat Islamization, fight for the survival of Christian civilization. Best regards from Amsterdam, Caesar.
Good.
Yikes.
It's a very interesting, the way the Europeans look at us. We had an Israeli, a Frenchman, and now someone from Amsterdam, a Netherlands.
Yeah.
A very global look. We're very provincial, but our work, our national security work, takes in a larger scale, which is why we bring in these sorts of people, which is why we've got to make a change from a president that went to Cairo, Egypt, and bowed down in Saudi Arabia and appeased the Islamic savage Sharia Muslims.
And gave the Muslim Brotherhood a front row seat.
We make a distinction between Muslims who come to the United States of America, foregoing the Sharia components of their political system, accept the American doctrines. We stand in solidarity with them, but we fight as enemies those who are set for the destruction of the United States of America. And when, as Mark just said, the President of the United States collaborates with the Muslim Brotherhood, who just the other day called for the destruction of Israel, then you've got to get rid of that president. That's why we're working so hard today. But let me read something from Ohio. This could be the situation and why. Ohio bears another more ominous similarity to 2000 Florida. And it goes on to say, in a close race, the winner could very well not be picked for 10 days because Ohio never enacted the reforms that Florida did. So here's the way it works. All the provisional ballots, anybody know what a provisional ballot is?
Is this the email I sent you?
No, this is
you vote.
I sent you this article.
National Journal? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
what it
I
is,
did. That was me.
Oh, okay.
You get the absentee ballot, and if you want
to provisional ballot. What's a provisional ballot?
You vote just as a. It's almost like a. This is the way I'll vote if everything else falls through. It's provisional. It's like
There's an error with it.
Yeah.
Something's not right with it. Your ID wasn't exact, and it may count and may not. It's provisional, may or may not count, right? We have to spend time investigating the information on here to determine if it counts. So it then becomes provisional, and they don't count it because there's not enough evidence either way. So they put it on the side. Then the absentee ballots, also in Ohio, go on the side. So they got a chunk of hundreds of thousands of ballots, and if the win in the state is beyond the number they have in the pile, fait accompli, it's over. If the win is within the margin of the ballots there, they got to go to the provisional ballots, but they have to have a series of recounts, so they don't even start counting the provisional ballots till 10 days later.
Yeah.
So it could come down to
Yeah.
this.
But that's assuming if Ohio will actually be the determinant factor of putting the 269 over.
Right, exactly. If the electoral vote is split in such a way that what is Ohio exactly? Is it 19 or 13? Ohio, and electoral votes are determined by the population, basically. 270.
Well, 2 senators and 1 for each representative.
Yeah. So, Ohio electoral votes. How many do they have? We should.
But
know
in any
that
case,
number.
the things to look for, once again, to the election is New Hampshire could be
It's 18.
Is
it 18?
very key
Okay.
state. As far as determining the metric of the whole race and everything.
So we have 29. They have 18. Oh, and 20 in Pennsylvania.
Is 38.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are
good.
the 2 giveaways.
Yep.
They figure they have to give away, like I said, at least 10%.
Yep.
They have to give 10% of
As fraud.
as
What a
fraud
joke. What a
because it's
complete
10% of what they think their electoral win is going to be. Because they're looking at 315, 325. and
Okay,
one's more
guys. Well,
optimistic.
we're winding down here, and
I'd like to introduce a new little segment for our show.
Okay.
Is you might be a Democrat section
no.
if.
Did you
Kind of
clear
the
this with the management?
Yes, I did. I checked with
Okay.
management.
You might be a liberal.
You are. You might be a liberal.
Yeah, I don't think we should offend entire political
Democrats.
parties.
You might
Let's
be a
just
liberal if.
Depend,
No, when a political party takes God and Israel out of their platform, they need to be offended directly, okay? Oh, wait, they put it back in. No, they didn't. It was voted down 3 times.
Oh, you don't have to tell
And
me.
it was
I was
also
there.
on the teleprompter that said what Villanueva was going to say. So that party needs to go to the woodshed.
Okay. So you might be a liberal if you think the Constitution is a living document that actually gets up and walks around.
What are these? Are these like redneck jokes?
That's
Look,
right.
we only got a couple of minutes. Let's go. Let's go
Oh,
around.
no.
Let's have a closing thought. Save your redneck jokes. Closing thought. Anything on your part?
I was zoned out for like less.
Okay.
Yeah, he had his closing thought a long time ago. Like, can we
Mark,
close now?
Mark, you have 30 seconds for your closing thought
my-
on our election
Election-
day show, and we don't know what the answer is yet. Okay.
Okay. The vote. If you haven't voted yet, get out there and vote. It's highly critical, the most critical election that we've ever had. Get out there. You still got time. You get an hour. The lines are short. Get to your polling place. Make your voice be heard because this has to be a rout. It cannot be a close election. Every little vote counts. Get out there and do it. Our country is dependent upon it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to agree with that. And I want to thank all the people who have worked so hard for months and months and months to make this election possible, to educate as many friends, families, and voters as possible, to get out there and do the hard election work, and all the people who did their early voting and their absentee voting, and everybody who's voting today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for helping us get our country back. If you haven't voted yet, you still have an hour. Please do it. And, thank you, and God bless America. Let's have an orderly transition of power. That's part of what makes this country so great. So let's see it this time, please.
I would just like to add one more. I'd like to thank my wife, Jessica, for supporting me in all this.
And
Yeah, you had a big sacrifice having to move and and
So,
do all of that. Let's all thank Jessica for her sacrifices, because
and
the
for
show,
everything she's done for us and the show.
Yeah,
behind
the show
behind
And she's
the
actually
scenes.
Democrat, so
That's
there you
right.
go.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, tell your party they need to straighten out, okay? But no, she
did.
has,
She voted for Romney. So.
She has sacrificed greatly to have you here. We could not have done this without you or you. And we had one plan, folks, 63 days ago when we started Trento Vision here, to end tonight, to do what we can to win this thing, to defeat President Obama. We believe we're successful at that. We'll know for sure tomorrow, but though we know for sure right now. And
we hope we know for sure tomorrow.
We look forward to tomorrow. We'll carry this on. But thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us, for all the people doing the great work, people like Jack Gillis and everybody else out there. Well, we may be saving the Republic. We'll let you know tomorrow.
Thanks for tuning in to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Tom Trento can be reached